Mr. Barky today. What are we barking at? I don't know. Hello. Cheep, cheep. My goodness, it's got all the animals going crazy right now. Oh yeah, I forgot to wear green. Oh well. That's okay. My eyes are green. It's fine. So what's the rules? If you don't wear green, someone's got to fuck you? What is... I don't remember. Anyways. Pinch. Oh. Never mind. Don't know what Leprechaun movie I watched. Whoops. All right. That'd be terrifying. Hello. Welcome. It's okay. It's my eyes are green. I have immunity. And I'm Irish. Half Irish. Quarter Irish. I don't know. Something like that. My grandmother's last name is Collins. It's pretty Irish. I think I'm good. Welcome though. Welcome back to my my purple room. So new video dropped.
Hey everyone, before we get to this,
I didn't mean to play it yet. Confessionals has a video. What if aliens are just demons in gray bodies? And it looks pretty lit. But there was also another video I saw. It's not on my browser currently. It was another video of the Nephilim are coming back or something. I don't know what it was about. Like if they're theorizing or something's actually happening. Nephilim are returning this one. Was it that one? I don't know if it was this one actually. I feel like it was a more recent one. Now, will the Nephilim return? Will they? Oh, okay. I feel like there's a different video thumbnail though. Let's see. Return of the Nephilim. Sounds like a Star Wars movie. I don't know where it was now. Damn. Maybe I can find it on my history. Let me see if it pops up. So I think I had it pulled up. I don't know if it was this browser or a different one. It might have been my other browser. Let me see. Oh yeah, this one. Okay. Oh. Where'd it go?
Joining us now,
Okay, this has two videos on this tab. Okay. One of the videos is disturbing, disgusting, illegal. New Mexico Democrat describes horrors at Epstein's Zora Ranch. Dropped 1 day ago. And there's another video. It's Lecrae finds out the Nephilim are returning. That was the one that I had, and that dropped today. But when did this is like a reaction video? So okay, so the original is 5 days ago. Fun. Okay, I like the original sources better. So let me copy this one, Put it on this one.
Hey everyone, before we get to this week's show.
Shh. Okay. Lecrae the rapper? I mean, I guess. I don't know. He's a YouTuber. It's a LECRAE. Is that? I mean, he has a music symbol next to him, so I guess so. Anyways. Interesting. So we got some, sounds like banger videos to choose from. You've heard a lot about me, Mr. Surfer. Well, good things, I hope. Actually, I don't want to know. Don't tell me. Welcome. Do. Okay. Let me put this over here. Bloop. Okay. So, I don't know which one sounds most interesting right now. I've never watched anything from Lecrae. Is it like crazy? Is that where his name comes from? Like cray cray or? I don't know. Thank you, Xerox, for gifting a sub. Hello.
Angelic beings slept with human women.
Yeah.
And made giants.
Now, a couple things I can already anticipate. People are like, this dude is whack. This dude is wild.
I know where you're going. For everybody who doesn't know where he's going, Shaq is a Nephilim. That's what he's trying to say.
The Bible, it's not interested in answering our science questions. How come Eve doesn't freak?
Yes. This is gonna be a fun video. I can tell. Already, we got a banger quote. Shaq is a Nephilim. I like it.
Serpent starts talking.
Sorry.
Book of Enoch. Now, this is where things are gonna get wild. So Jude and 2 Peter actually quote the Book of Enoch.
So why is it not canonized?
This is a great question. It's actually debated.
Do you think they all were decimated in the flood, or are they still with us?
Oh man, you really messed me up.
You already told me your answer by that. That Paul's told me I gotta go and tuck my kids in tonight and tell them, be careful. There's Nephilim out here. That's what you just said.
The flood possibly was not a global flood.
Okay.
This is The Deep End with Lecrae.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I gotta read this bio. Okay.
That's an interesting take. I gotta hear what he says about the flood not being a global flood. You tell me that shit was isolated to a specific region? I don't know. That's
more into reading bios because
we'll see about that one.
People are way more interesting than I think you even realize. All right. So first of all, Dr. Joel Muramali is a PhD, a theologian, a best-selling author, one of the most credible voices on spiritual warfare in the evangelical world right now, and I can attest to this. Born in Chicago, raised partly in India, father of 4, is a hoops fanatic. He's Jordan over LeBron. So don't tune him out, okay? Now that you know this, stay with us, okay? Stay with us. He's the kind of scholar who can go deep, but also make it very accessible for everyday people. He is the director of theology and research at Proverbs 31 Ministries. He does serious scholarship inside the Women's Bible Study Organization, which is very interesting. And he is a co-host on Therapy and Theology with Lisa.
He's saying, ladies, if you see a guy over 6 feet tall, he's Nephilim. Do not fuck him. Save your puss for the short kings. He's like
Turkish.
He's like in there being like, Shaq,
but I
demon.
My mother read a book, changed her life. I'm just saying. I
don't want over 6 feet.
But he's also on the preaching team at Transformation Church with Pastor Derwin Gray. It's a different transformation. If you guys, not the one in Oklahoma, the one in North Carolina. Two different ones. He's got a new book, The Unseen Battle. And it is his PhD dissertation turned into a book. It's years in the making. And this man studied under Dr. Michael Heiser, which is the scholar who pioneered the whole idea of the divine council worldview. If you don't know what that is, you're about to. When we start talking about demons and start talking about spirits and angels and Nephilim and other realms, this is the guy you want to be talking to. He's
so enthusiastic.
Not the creepy old person in the church who's telling you all kind of weird stuff. Talk to a studied theologian. So Dr. Joel, we appreciate you being here, brother. Thank you, man.
Bro, I felt like I just ran a marathon with you on that one. My goodness. But I mean, all the details are pretty close, pretty right.
Bro,
appreciate you.
I actually, I didn't know who you were specifically right? I would come across your commentary, your feeds on social media.
Guys,
over
I was kidding about the height thing. I don't need y'all to be sad. It's okay. It's a joke.
the years. And it was like, yo, this dude is killing it, man. I don't know who this brown guy is killing it, but he's killing it. Whatever. Who is this guy? And then I read The Unseen Battle by Dr. Heiser. And I was
Unseen
like,
Realm.
Unseen Realm. Sorry.
Yep.
This is The Unseen
That's
Battle.
about-
The Unseen Realm.
Yeah.
And I must have read that book twice, just in like 2 weeks,
Yeah.
because I had never heard anything like this before. It blew my mind, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is the guy." And then I learned, because we did an episode with the founder of Wikipedia,
Right.
and he had some controversial takes,
Right.
on Dr. Heiser,
Yeah.
his views,
Yeah.
and then you were like, "Gotta speak on this," and then I was like, "Yo,
Okay,
you
get to
study
the
under-"
point.
I didn't talk about
It's 14:6 on down.
yeah. On dive into some stuff about the God, Eve, Earth. There's a talking snake, and then there's a flood, and then Adam and Eve are here, and then they mess up, and then that's the kind of the gist of Genesis for us.
Yeah.
And we know about the fall of Adam and Eve, but that's the gist of what are we not seeing?
Yeah.
Right. We know about one fall. Apparently, there's more than one fall.
Yeah. Two
And
more.
apparently, a talking snake is not the gist of the book.
Right,
Right.
right.
So walk us through like what we're not seeing, what the average Christian sees, and what we're missing.
Yeah, so I think we actually have a mutual friend in our boy Hakeem Bradley.
That's right.
Right, and so Hakeem, if you're listening, I love you, but I'm still going to disagree with you. Hakeem is like a Hebrew scholar, and I'm a biblical theology guy. I like to look at the Bible as one cohesive story. So I want to read the Old Testament, like the New Testament, and then I want to see how the New Testament is really fulfilling the seeds that are planted in the Old Testament. And often what happens is Hebrew scholars they'll say, the most important chapters of Genesis are Genesis chapters 1 through 11, and this is where I disagree with Hakeem, because I'll be like, bro, why do you always leave out my boy Abram? Like, Abraham starts in Genesis 12, and actually I think that we really need to read Genesis chapters 1 through 12 in order to rightly understand the rest of the story of Scripture. And so, some of this comes from my doctoral advisor, Dr. Mike Heiser. I remember Mike once said, he's like, hey, Paul, of course, we have Malachi, and then you go to Matthew, and we call that like the 400 years of silence. But in the actual historical time period that's taking place of who is this God Yahweh? How did the promises that God has made to all of us? And so they're thinking deeply about this and produced. And so for now, Genesis 3 is an issue, but please don't forget Genesis 6. And this issue of the sons of God that see the daughters of man, desire them, take them. And then the offspring are these enigmatic figures called the Nephilim. And then the Greek translation refers to them as giants. And this is the precursor to the flood narrative. And then they'd also be like, also don't forget Genesis 11. Like, where do we get the idea of the gods of the nations? Well, the gods of the nations come from Genesis 11, right in light of the postlude. There's this section in Deuteronomy 32, 8 and 9 that says that God brought the sons of God down, and he allotted the nations based off of the boundaries of the nations according to the number of the sons of God. And this is where you get the idea of the gods of the nations, which is really the backdrop for the entire Old Testament. So, like, a couple things that I think are really important. One, when we read Genesis, sometimes we let our modern 21st century desire for science and facts to actually be the interpretive lens by which we read the text. The Bible is not, at least from my perspective, at least Genesis for sure, chapters 1 through 12, it's not interested in answering our science questions. Like, it answers some science questions, but that's not the author's intended meaning.
Right.
Around this time, there are these competing myths that are being present. And each of these competing myths, they're all telling a counterfeit story. But the thing about counterfeit stories is in order to really gain traction, you got to have vestiges of the truth. You got to have like little pieces in
Yes,
there. Taking,
we understand.
creation comes into existence. It's like broken in half, and that's where you get the boundaries. And then out of the blood of a different deity is how humanity comes about. But this is wild. In the Mesopotamian literature, in the Numa Elish, humanity was created as slaves in order to do the work
Well,
of the
that's like
deities.
the Anunnaki shit, all right? Or the Sumerian whatever the fuck that we were discussing the other week, I think.
Right? Okay, think about all of that, and now think about Genesis chapter 3. Genesis 1 and 2. It's like, wait a minute. The uncreated creator creates, the Hebrew phrase for formless and empty is tohu vabohu. It means wasteland and wilderness. So in the midst of chaos, and there's the sea, which is an image of chaos and destruction and death, this good God comes in and creates order in the midst of chaos. And then he creates a series of separations through boundaries in order to cultivate a garden that he places on top of a mountain, which is, again, wild. Like, we think about mountains today, Craig, and it's like, oh, great place to take an Instagram picture, go on a hike, right? In the ancient world, the mountains were the place where God met with humanity. At the peak of the mountain was where the gods would plant gardens. I mean, by the way, where do you get the idea of Mount Olympus? They're just plagiarizing the biblical text, right? And so you have this, and God plants this garden, and
These
he always
days,
desires to have his family.
we have satanic parades through mountain passes with giant gray heads and wings and Lady Gaga backup dancers, as we saw.
With him, Adam and Eve are placed in the Garden of Eden, but then they're not alone. They have these spiritual beings that are present as well. And this garden is not just a garden, it's a divine throne room. And God is king, and part of his kingdom is his prerogative to have a supernatural family and also a human family, and they're present in Eden. I was like, how come Eve doesn't freak out when the serpent starts talking? Right? Like, how come we just read past that like, oh yeah, of course, serpents talk?
Because all the animals talked. Maybe. Wouldn't that be interesting?
Right? The Hebrew word for serpent there is nakash, and that word has in mind three things. It has in mind a literal serpent, it has in mind a fiery bronze image, and it also has in mind a guardian cherub or a cherubim. And it's like, well, why does Eve not freak out when the serpent starts talking? Because the issue, and this is all spiritual warfare, this is cosmic conflict, the issue isn't the appearance of the serpent, the issue is the substance of what comes out of the serpent's mouth. And so the enemy loves
Break
to
that
present.
down when you say that.
Yeah. So when Adam and Eve are there, they're used to spiritual beings coming through, hanging out. They're used to seraphim and cherubim and sons of God, and
Sure.
these spiritual disembodied spiritual beings were present and active. Think about it, like it was routine for Yahweh. This is Genesis 3 to walk with Adam and Eve in the cool of the evening breeze.
There you go.
Each of these details matters.
Yeah.
The cool of the evening breeze lets us know that it's the end of the day. Why does God wait to come and talk to Adam and Eve till the end of the day? Because they'd been doing stuff all day. They had been creating, and they had been naming animals, and they had been tasked with stewardship and vocation and responsibility. And at the end of the day, it's almost like God comes back and is like, hey, let's have a conversation. How'd it go? What surprised you?
And not to cut you off, but my ADD brain kicked in, and I just thought you said, okay, disembodied beings.
Yeah.
So they don't have a consistent
Physical.
form. So is the assumption then that they're taking the form of other things that do have bodies?
Yeah. So and this isn't a new or novel idea. Think about the angelic figures that show up to Abram, right? It's angelic beings that are corporeal for a moment, and they look human.
I'm going to video hop. Let this transition us to, what if aliens are just demons in gray bodies?
So this is just a weekly reminder to continue to pray for my wife, Lindsay. She's
Yes.
battling breast cancer right now. Marzulli,
Always.
alive, in person, in studio, together. It was such a good conversation. As much as, do we trust the people who
The files, that's yet another.
Okay.
like a chess game mentally sometimes, trying to decipher what this information is. So, like, with everything that's been happening recently with Trump saying, release the UFO files,
right.
Obama coming out saying there's aliens.
Right.
Like, what in the LA Marzulli camp, how are you discerning these times?
Well,
right now?
Obama was another rung on a ladder of disclosure, and then trumping Obama by saying, well, we might release something soon or give us the files. That's yet another rung. In 2017, Commander David Fravor was on Tucker Carlson's show, and I used to watch Tucker, every night. I don't watch Fox News anymore, but I digress. And he says something which is incredible. Tucker starts off the last segment on a Friday night, December 17th, I think it was. And he goes, UFOs used to be the stuff of tinfoil hat wearing people and conspiracy theories, but maybe we shouldn't think that anymore. Commander David Fravor joins us tonight, former F-18 pilot, in a close encounter with a tic-tac-shaped object over the Pacific Ocean. I'm like, flabbergasted. I mean, are you kidding me? What?
Yeah.
Fox, what's going on here? Peggy! And she comes running in, and we're looking at this thing, and there's Commander David Fravor. He's like this.
Terrified.
Terrified. He's on national TV. What am I doing here? And at the end of the interview, and it's like tic-tac-shaped object, it moved away 50 miles an hour in 2 seconds. I mean, this whole thing. He looks right at the camera. And this is a real stand-up guy. He's telling you the truth. Whatever this was not from this earth. That is the nexus for rungs of disclosure. That's why I wrote the book. Now, the book only has 17 rungs in it. That's it. We're up to rung 25, 26. Things have been happening since the book was published by Charisma House last year. So it's a little over a year old now. And rungsofdisclosure.com, interactive website. So because I'm not going to reprint the book and rewrite it. So the new
Nick and I
rungs,
just started watching the Age of Disclosure documentary. We were like 30 minutes into it. Haven't finished it yet, but it's been interesting too. It's like a nice synopsis of like people who their job was to like go after the UAPs and the government, they're like telling you why it's crazy about like the footage that's been released on stuff. It's kind of fun so far. They were like breaking it down, making it easier to understand rather than being like, okay, what is that? What does it mean?
As we go up the ladder towards full
That's on
disclosure,
Amazon
or at
Prime
wrongtodisclosure.com.
video.
So, to your question, disclosure is happening. And it begs the question, why don't they just come out and tell us? Why is it? And the church needs to understand that we are so far behind what's going on, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But they are rolling it out. When you have people in Congress under oath raising their right hand, do you swear to tell the whole truth? That whole deal, right? Yeah. So they're telling us the truth. You've got whistleblowers. We've got crash craft. We've got alien bodies. They're here. We're back engineering stuff. Age of disclosure, which led to our weekend. We had 10 speakers, which was incredible with virtual conference. The age of disclosure, you've got generals, you've got admirals, scientists, you've got military people, pilots, just from congressmen, congresswomen from all walks of life in our government stating on the record, we're not alone. And in the beginning of that film, it's very staccato, like, we're not alone, we're not alone, we're not alone, we're not alone. Person after person, very staccato. As a filmmaker, you know what that's like. Bam, bam, bam. They're driving home the point that we are not alone in the universe. And I'm looking at this, oh my gosh, that led to our virtual conference. You can still see.
Okay. Does she fly to you? Or do you have to grab her?
These two are nesting too. Hello. You have nice view, huh?
Making sure none of the birds escape.
They're so protective of their eggs.
Yeah.
The other two wouldn't even fight me.
I saw two of the bagons trying to mate the other day. I don't know. I don't know if it was bagon or not. But I don't know if that would be healthy since they're related.
It, for $20. I mean,
Tell them to get it.
Right? LAMarzulli.com. It's right there, LAMarzulli.com. This is the coming great deception. And they are already painting this. Our government's painting it this way. The scientists, we're not alone in the universe. Steven Spielberg's film, so as a filmmaker,
Timely, right?
So timely, but so crafted.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
He has a 9-year-old or 8-year-old prepubescent girl.
Yeah.
And then he's got Mother
Wait, what
Superior.
film is this?
Oh, surely God wouldn't have made us the only ones in the universe.
Yeah.
She says something like, "With the universe so vast, surely God wouldn't have." Yes, you don't know where we are. God's going to roll up this thing like a scroll, like a flipping scroll. How does he do that? I don't know. We don't know where we are or what this is. Nobody does.
Right.
I don't believe that there's life elsewhere. I really don't. I think this is it. The New Jerusalem comes here, not Zeta Reticuli. Jesus comes here, nowhere else that we know of. And so I think we're it. It's a very complex scenario, but this is the coming great deception.
Yeah.
This will change everything. Because when they show up, they will tell us, and I'm skipping to the end of the book and everything else, but we seeded all life on this planet. We genetically manipulated early man. We started the world's civilizations. We started the world's religions. Now at this critical juncture, a nuke going off. And what's going on in Iran right now?
Yeah.
Anything's possible, Tony.
Yeah.
I mean, anything's possible.
Yeah.
These guys are like a tiger backed into a corner. Do they have nukes? We've heard they have no nukes. We've heard they have 11 nukes.
Mm-hmm.
We've heard they have 8 nukes, but there's no delivery system. We don't know what the truth is. Nobody does. All it takes is one nuke going off, and this sets up the greatest climate of fear that humanity has ever experienced collectively, because we're all linked together with the internet, right, and satellites all around us. That's when they show up. That's conjecture. That's the final rung. Pray to God we don't have that scenario.
What do you think about this, chat? Do you think that's likely to happen? Where the world has to globally unite against the aliens as a cover-up? I feel like it's very plausible. I don't know if anytime soon, but I could see it getting to that. I would hope that it's not in my lifetime. I would not want a one world government against the aliens. But, I could see it happening. I hope not anytime soon, but unfortunately, things tend to move quickly sometimes. I think it's close enough too, but I hope far enough away to where it happens after I die, but I probably won't get that lucky. I don't know. Unless I die young. I'm not sure.
happens if on the, what is it? I'm 75,
exactly.
so that's 3
Project
years.
Blue
On the
Jeans.
78th year of the Roswell event, July 8th, what if Trump stands up and goes, "We're not alone in the universe"?
Yeah.
Bam, game changer. Where's the church? Will the men please come forward and receive the morning offering? We're like,
Wait, what chat Pantograph says, I'm waiting for them to kidnap me. You trying to get probed? Man, you kids are getting more desperate to lose your virginity every day, I swear.
30 years behind.
Yeah.
It's very sad.
Yeah, I mean, the church, I 100% agree that there's a lot of churches that are not ready to deal with this. And there's a lot of reasons for that. But one of them is that we have really devoided ourselves from any kind of supernatural understanding.
Completely.
It's just
Sanitized.
Yeah. And so when you wipe that from your theology, your teachings, and actually handing that down to the people attending your church and stuff,
If the alien ladies are lonely, you're available. Well, with this theory, demons in gray bodies, before it was that the demons, or I guess at the time fallen angels, found the women to be captivating. I didn't hear any story about the alien, demon, angelic, whatever the fuck ladies looking for some human peen. But who knows? Maybe times have changed and you'll get lucky. We'll see.
happens. And this information comes out, and they say we're not alone in the universe. As a Christian, your response should be,
I think it's more plausible that you would be impregnated even as a man by some alien peen. I mean, just look what the seahorses do. They carry babies.
no duh. Like scriptures shows that. When they talk about NHI and these Christians that are going to be confused, they're like, "Oh, what would we do with this NHI thing?" No, duh. Scripture talks about that, but without the proper framework, it's going to lead to a lot of confusion. And I think that there's people like you and maybe even myself with our platforms that hopefully can serve as a landing spot for the education, I suppose, like understanding. That. Listen, I'm definitely not like a theologian on here telling you exactly how all the Hebrew and Greek breaks down.
Yeah, and that's not what we're supposed to be doing.
No, it's not my calling. But what I've done is I've documented that there's a lot of strange things that people have been experiencing for a very long time. And if you can come to understand that, you're going to start having a framework for this. The NHI side of things,
Pacifist asks, have I been approached by a rich, elite, creepy old man? No, but I also don't go out anywhere where I could be approached. I've been pretty much working from home with no social life for the past decade, pretty much since I got married. So, yeah, and even before that, I was not in a family environment where I was put in social settings. My family was antisocial and middle class. So... and Christian, going to church, so no weird elite parties for my family to ever have that opportunity, luckily.
I think that there's this weird thing happening right now where they're trying to paint this disclosure narrative as something so deeply, profoundly scary that they're not doing it for the sake of the Christians. I feel like they're using the Christians as a scapegoat at times. And it concerns me with that because they said that release the UFO files, and then there was a report I think last week saying that it's being delayed because of the Christians' perspectives on demons.
Someone else's do right.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what I mean, like by it being layered. It just seems like there's so many different things here, and when you're going towards a great deception, I mean, is it wrong to think that Christians will be persecuted in that time, and how is that going to lay out?
Good question. It all depends on a couple of things. And there's a saying I coined a few years ago. We go up, they come down. We go up, they show up. I could be wrong. That's conjecture on my part. I have no scriptural basis for that. So, I do believe in a pre-tribulation rapture. I think we go up before the time of Jacob's trouble. It doesn't deal with the church. People can argue that till the cows come home. Believe what you want to believe. Please don't send me an email telling me I'm wrong. Believe what you want to believe. But we're already seeing stuff happen in the Middle East, which is unprecedented in my opinion. So we're already starting to see supernatural stuff in Congress. We have non-human biologics. I mean, what do you do with that?
Yeah.
Right? We've already talked about that. But that statement is unbelievable. David Grush in the halls of Congress, non-human biologics, retrieved from crash craft. Hello, time to wake up.
Yeah.
The question is, how much do we see before we go up? What would cause? And there's a lot of controversy. People go back and forth. All I can tell you is this, and I got this from my friend Mando Gonzalez, who is our go-to guy for Greek and Hebrew. I mean, he just is.
Yeah.
He's my go-to guy for Greek and Hebrew. So the question is this: when you go to the biblical narrative, what does it say? So you go to 1 Timothy chapter 4, and it says this. This is Paul writing 2,000 years ago. And is he moved through time to see what the end days look like? End of days? I think he probably was. And that's a 3-hour conversation. But the Holy Spirit is telling him something. The Spirit expressly states that in the latter days, some will depart from the faith, giving heed to seducing spirits and the doctrines of demons. That's exactly where we are. There's a little track that we print out, and it's, thank you, Brad Myers, if you're watching. He was the nexus for all that. What's interesting about this is channeled information. A woman going into a trance through automatic writing, occult technique, or voice to skull, another occult technique. But she's opened herself up to these entities. We are the Pleiadians. We are here to teach mankind a very important lesson, to realize your godhood. Well, where did we hear that before? Yeah. And that's why we're in the trouble that we're in. There's this one line, and it says this, which is just chilling to me. And this is written, decades ago, right? Because of the earth changes, I'm kind of paraphrasing here. Many people on the planet do not fit here any longer, and they are stopping the harmony of the earth. So there is a moment in time where these people will leave the planet in an afternoon because they're stopping the harmony of the earth. They're not ready for the big cosmic shift. That would be you and me, because we cling. I remember talking to a New Ager on my show, on YouTube, folks, by the way. But she said this to me, LA, you're just not ready for the shift yet because you're clinging to the dusty pages of your Bible. And my reply was, man, not only do I cling, I clutch and hold dear every jot and tittle that's in that book.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So you can see the disparity between, I'm the one stopping.
Like, you're damn right, I'm clinging.
The channel information, that little track that we give up. There was a moment of time where people will leave. They're not ready for the shift. They're stopping the harmony of the earth. That's what the other side is saying. Yeah. They've already explained the way the rapture of a church. The question is, how much will we see before we go up? What if Trump discloses this? I mean, you got age of disclosure. You got Spielberg's film, which is absolutely, like we talked about, dialed into the nines. Yeah. How does that work, right? Yeah. And that's going to, this is the master filmmaker of the 20th and 21st century. This guy's amazing. Big budget film, huge budget. And I've already walked through the trailer. I mean, the cardinal appearing on the breakfast table with the parents, the deer coming up to the window. I mean, the deer appearing.
I have to watch this trailer now. I don't know if I've seen it.
What did you steal?
Secrets. The data they paid me to protect.
Are they people?
No.
It's so loud for you guys. I don't know why. It's like
Good morning, Kansas City. Let's take a look at today.
Here, maybe.
Let's. Today is. Today's.
Oh, fuck.
Do you understand what she's saying?
I hear her. It's gibberish. I can't understand it.
And I can.
What's happening to me?
People are starved for the truth. I'm a part of it now. I'm just sorry that they made you a part of it too.
Hello, Jane.
Parcel tongue.
Please,
Shit.
have a seat.
That reptilian language.
This 79-year terror campaign of lies has to end.
What are you gonna do?
Full disclosure to the whole world.
That truth will upend all established order across the entire world.
That's why they're not
If you
telling
do
us.
this, there's no one doing it.
Why would they do this?
When the time is right, everything will become clear.
She let go.
Ugh, I hate that sound. It's like ASMR, but like she's deep throating the mic instead of licking it. It's too much. Don't like. Anyways,
little girl's room,
Yeah.
The cardinal things flying around his. This thing is crafted to the nines. And then they walk up to this house, the little girl, and the snow is there, but there's no footprints in the snow. And then the deer, the big buck with the horns, right next to the little girl. So the laws of nature have been suspended. The deer, the bird on her shoulder, the little raccoon or whatever it is to the
Pokemon.
right, and no footprints in the snow. The laws of nature have been suspended, and the house is
Got
lit
your
up.
Stantler
These
and
aren't
your
normal
Pidgey.
lights. What are we looking at here?
Yeah.
And so disclosure is coming. It will change everything. Going back to the first Timothy chapter 4, the Spirit expressly states that in the latter days. Okay, wait, stop right there. LA, what do you mean the latter days? How do we know we're in the latter days? Well, and this is going to ruffle a whole lot of feathers out there, and I just can't wait for this. Everything hinges around the nation of Israel. And don't give me the stuff, oh, these are the Jews, these are Khazarians, oh my God. Do your homework. That's a big lie. These are the Jews. They're back, okay? Everything starts from May 14th, 1948. And I'll tell you a story in just a second. But that starts the end time clock ticking. We are in the last days. We are moving into the time of Jacob's trouble, which deals, I'm talking too fast, I get ahead of myself, which deals with the nation of Israel. Amos 9, 14, and 15. So riddle this, Mr. Skeptic.
Love the Amos
And
cookies.
how do you sync this in with your theology? These aren't really Jews. Excuse me, Amos 9, 14, and 15. I will bring back the captives of my people Israel. They will build the waste cities and inhabit them. 2 checks. They will plant vineyards and drink the wine from them. 3rd check. They will also plant gardens and eat the fruit from them. 4th check. Here's the kicker. I will plant them in their land, and never again will they be plucked up out of the land I have given them. So these are the Jews. Do I give Israel a pass? Absolutely not. Israel kills, and I got this from Mando Gonzalez, the 2 witnesses who are, I believe, Moses and Elijah.
Yeah.
They kill the 2 witnesses who are preaching Jesus. So they kill, because Moses and Elijah, who appears in the Transfiguration. So that's the prophetic time clock. That kicks everything into gear. And May 14th, 1948, guess what's, and I got this from Rabbi Jason Sobel, guess what scripture was being read in every single synagogue on May 14th, 1948, that week? Because they're all in sync. They're all in sync, right? Yeah. All the synagogues are in sync. They read from a certain part of scripture every week.
Is that
May 14th,
true?
1948. I will bring back the captives of my people.
I don't
Israel.
have Jewish friends.
Amos
to
9,
ask.
14, and 15. I mean, how do you even arrange that?
Yeah.
That's like a cosmic 8 cushion shot that
Wait, what was it?
May 14th, 1948, I will bring back the captives of my people Israel.
Wow.
Amos 9, 14,
Is that
and
it?
15. I mean, how do you even arrange that?
Yeah.
That's like a cosmic 8 cushion shot that no one, but that's it. Because this is the God outside of eternity, and these are his people. I don't give them a pass. Every nation on earth is corrupt, and Israel is corrupt in some ways. But the Jewish people are there. The land is blossoming, and they will look on him whom they have pierced and mourn for him as an only son. So we're in the latter days. So in the latter days, the Spirit expressly states, some will depart from the faith, giving heed to seducing spirits and doctrines of demons. This is exactly where we are. These guys behind us, right? These are the craft. Oh, well, why do fallen angels need UFOs? Well, let's go to 2 Kings chapter 6. Gehazi is there with Elijah, and they're surrounded by the Syrian army. And so we're going to die. That's Gehazi's mindset. We're going to die. It's over. And I get it. In the natural, you're surrounded by the Syrian army. We're toast. Now what? Maybe we should fall on our swords, right? So Elijah kicks him out of a tent. Lord opened his eyes. He goes out and he says this, and you deal with this. I mean, the church, I know such thing, because they have a truncated view of the supernatural. So Gehazi goes out. He looks up. He sees the chariots of fire. He's looking at one of those. But he has no words to describe it. You and I would call it a UAP, UFO. But he's going, a chariot, that's the vehicle, the apex vehicle in antiquity. And fire is all he knows, that something that's lighting up the sky. He doesn't know what these lights are all around us. He has fire. He has oil lamps. That's it. A chariot of fire above the Syrian army. Now, what do you think that is?
Prince of Persia?
Yeah, right. So, I mean, there you go. The church has this truncated view of the supernatural, and we don't realize that there is technology all throughout Scripture. The New Jerusalem, who's building a New Jerusalem? Does God just blink his eyes and the thing happens? Or are angels building this thing, which is 1,500 miles wide and long and high? Is it a pyramid? I think so. People will argue that. How does it descend to earth? How does that work? What's the structural beams that they use for the foundation. I mean, 1,500 miles wide? I mean, come on, guys, what are we looking at here? So there's technology that we don't understand.
Yeah.
And it's here. And the doctrine of demons and what is, seducing spirits. We already talked about that little track, that channeled information. If that's not a seducing spirit, a doctrine of demon, I don't know what is, because it pulls everyone away from the biblical prophetic narrative and points to something else.
Wow. So
that was a mouthful.
No, you're good.
Sorry.
No, hey, you're here to talk. So you're good. When it comes to UFOs, and even, they're saying that we have biological...
non-human biologics.
Non-human biologics, thank you. That's a big stumbling block for a lot of people.
Sure.
They don't understand how something can be spiritual but physical. Now, for me, I have my own ways of interpreting that as far as like how I relay that information, because I'm like, they can be. Absolutely 100%. There can be a physical, biological to a nuts and bolts type of physical craft that did not originate from here. But how do you tackle that situation when it comes to people who are like, I don't understand if this is like dark, nefarious spiritual entities, how do they have a biological body?
Okay, here we go. When the angels appear to Abraham, you have the pre-incarnate Christ and two angels. They're physical. I mean, they're not... They appear as men. We're on the road to Emmaus. Jesus appears, right? Paul tells us some people have entertained angels unawares and all this other stuff. Look, they can shapeshift. Meniscus monocyte. I got that from Russ Dizdar. They can shapeshift. The angels that go into Sodom and Gomorrah, the men of the city want to have sex with them. That's not a phantom. That's not a spirit. They sit down with Abraham and eat. He kills the fatted calf or the lamb or whatever, and they're eating and drinking together. Pate. So, they're having a good time together. They're breaking bread. This is the problem with the church, that we don't understand that there's a physicality to the supernatural. I'll just give you one example.
Yeah.
So the Adam and Eve are booted out of the Garden of Eden. And can I borrow your pen?
Please.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
So actually the yellow one would be better. Perfect. Thank you, sir. How awkward. So the Adam and Eve are booted out of the Garden of Eden.
What are we watching?
And
You're watching What If Aliens Are Just Demons in Gray Bodies?
cherubim are placed at the gate, which is a 3-hour conversation. Kind of a lonely post, isn't it? And between the cherubim,
Like they're
is a flaming
possessing
sword
the
that comes
bodies.
every which way.
Like a shapeshift.
What's a flaming sword? It's a lightsaber. Oh my gosh, LA, you're completely gone. No, I'm not. It's a lightsaber. A flaming sword in modern day vernacular is a lightsaber.
Yeah.
The cherubim are not wielding this thing. So it's turning by itself. That's technology. When the two angels come in to Jerusalem, I'm working on a book on this, so you can't steal it. But when the two angels come in to Jerusalem, they have a slaughter weapon, and the other one has an inkhorn to put a sign on the people that you're not going to touch. How does that work? What's a slaughter weapon? When the best breastplate of the high priest and the Urim and the Thummim, right? The stones light up. How does that work? Okay, who's building a New Jerusalem? How does that thing go down? I mean, there's technology throughout the Bible. When the angel of the Lord appears to Joshua, holds out his sword, who built his sword? Well, God could just blink his eyes away, and by golly, by God, that sword could just appear. I totally get that. But what if, and I'm being sort of tongue in cheek here. So what if Jesus goes, guys, I need a sword. We're going to have a contest. Gabriel, put up the flyers. He put up the flyers, and the metallurgists are up there. Mine's going to win. They all have crisp English accents, by the way, and they're out there because Book of Enoch tells us what? That the angels come down and show mankind what? Metallurgy. So what if somebody's up there? It's almost like the Lord of the Rings where they're crafting these beautiful swords. God could, I get it. The Lord could just speak it and bam, it would be. But what if it didn't work that way?
Yeah.
What if I'm being glib here, folks. Please don't. LA is teaching heresy. We must burn him out the stage. So please don't. But what if there was like a
Burn him.
contest where the sword comes from somewhere?
Yeah.
And the angel of the Lord, which is the pre-incarnate Jesus, is a theophany, hearing to Joshua, holy ground. Take off your shoes. This is holy ground. So it's not just an angel, but something else. And it's the pre-incarnate Christ, in my opinion. But there's technology. What the heck is the Ark of the Covenant? If that's not technology, I don't know what is.
Yeah, that shit
Somebody
sounds
touches
crazy.
it. Uzziah touches it. Boom. He dies. Presence of the Lord is over it. Pillar of flame. I mean, it's just like we live in this truncated view in the church. We don't believe, or do we really believe the stories that we actually read? Floating axe heads, talking donkeys, right? Men that walk on water, people that are raised from the dead, eyes of the blind that are open, water that's changed into wine, water that stands up as a heap, and on and on and on it goes. And that supernatural world, I know you travel in it, I travel in it. The Lord directs my steps. Don't go, go. And sometimes I go where he's told me not to go, and bad things happen. So I've learned to mind the checks. So we're in the latter days, to circle all the way back, we're in the latter days. We are being seduced by spirits. The doctrine of demons, seducing spirits, doctrine of demons. It's all around us. It's all, and the church needs to wake up and realize that this is channel information coming from people out the window. Can't possibly go with it. Number one. Number two, if there is an announcement like this, and these guys show up, or President Trump says we're not alone, or however it comes down, how many people will give heed to the voices of those seducing spirits and go, oh wait, this is the coming great deception. I've heard about this. I'm not going to believe a lie. But because they did not believe in the truth, God sends them strong delusion.
Yeah.
So,
well, I would say one, your examples and stuff, I welcome. And God is the God of creativity. So like it's meant for us to be used for understanding. When it comes to this supernatural technology, one example that I like using is Goliath's sword.
Yeah.
Because it's easy for us to just look at things the way the church has taught us to look at things. That whole thing that unfolded was a supernatural event.
Very much so.
And David cuts the head off of Goliath's with Goliath's sword. And one could say, okay, this what I'm about to say, you could have logistical things work around where it's well, if it's a giant sword and David is a shepherd boy, was it easy? Was it hard for him to lift, to cut the head off? It seems like it happened so quickly, suddenly, but okay, maybe David just, was really strong, picked it up, whatever. Because the Bible does talk about the weight and the size of his armor.
Real big, right.
But when David is running from Saul and he encounters the priest and he needs a weapon and he says to the priest, I need a weapon. He's like, the only thing I got is Goliath's sword. And he says, give it to me, for there's none like it. What did he mean by that? What does it mean by there's none like it? It's an extra heavy sword that I'm going to lug through the desert? Or was there a supernatural technology that was attached to it? Have you ever considered that? Okay, let's take a second to talk about our sponsor today, which is
like
Ghostbed. Listen, the older I get, the
what is that
more
sword
I
from
become-
Mandalorian? Like the dark saber thing. Is that what it's called? Yes. God, I'm a nerd. Ooh, what if it was like, this one's built different, Who knows? Could be kind of cool.
Savvy with my weapons. You're just paying simply more.
With this
All night. Yeah, check out. That's ghostbed.cool.
David and Goliath.
It's in the world.
And this is really interesting. That whole passage with David and Goliath is so filled with mystery. And there are well-meaning Christian theologians. Oh, Goliath was just 6'5" nonsense. With a sword. It's just like it's weaver beams and all this other stuff.
Well, those are people who would deny Nephilim.
Well, that's the thing. They have to.
100%, yeah.
Oh, he's only 6'5". The Nephilim were on the earth in those days and also afterwards. We are looking at 9 foot, 10 foot, 11, 12 foot. We don't know. Big guy.
Or if it
big
was
guy.
like the elven metal, like mithril maybe, that would be like really strong but really light. Kind of cool.
Og or Og, king of Bashan.
Who knows?
The bed is like, what, 15 feet?
Yeah.
So he's like a 13 or a 12, 13 footer. I mean, seriously?
Yep.
And the problem is, when you go up, you go up. There's a picture of me, and I'm 6 foot, next to Big John, ex-basketball player. He's only 7 feet tall.
Only.
He's only 7 feet. And I'm standing next to him. I look like a midget next to him. Like, I'm just this puny little guy, because when you go up, you go out. So Goliath, and by the way, he cuts the head off because that's the only way you can kill a Nephilim. You have to decapitate them, otherwise they regenerate. If you run them through with a sword, he'll regenerate. And this gets into a whole other
Hold up. Now we sounding like a reptilian. The fuck? God, like some Wolverine type shit over here? Jeez.
conversation. When angels fight, how do they fight? We know that the angel that appears to Daniel has to get Mike and the boys to fight the prince of Persia to break through. We know that Michael and his angels fight with the devil and his angels, and they're cast to earth. Woe to the inhabitants of earth, right? The devil and all of his angels, what does that look like? We don't know. I don't want to be here for that. But they can be wounded. They can't be killed because they're eternal beings. Can they be wounded? Well, if Michael and his angels overcome the devil as his, they're not up there doing thumb wrestling,
right.
So they have to be wounded in some way. David knows that the only way you can kill a Nephilim is to behead it. The bones of a Nephilim are openly on display in the time of Jesus. This is to be like the days of Noah. How do we know that? First century historian Josephus. Is there something magical with that sword? Is it like, Lord of the Rings and those type of swords, Mithril and all that stuff? We don't know. It's conjecture. Something is with the sword. There's no doubt about that. David senses it. Is the sword? This is all conjecture. Big sword, right? We know that the spear and the lances were 28 pounds. We know that. So what are we really looking at here? Or was the sword, the appearance of it looked really heavy, but it wasn't. It was very lightweight, and it had such a keen edge because maybe, total conjecture, folks, maybe it wasn't crafted here.
Yeah.
Maybe it was crafted there and brought in. So I know that I'm getting really woo-woo,
No,
which is why
welcome.
I underline the word conjecture because we just don't know.
Yeah.
And then there's people, well-meaning
It's crafted in
anything that's
Rivendell.
not written, you shouldn't be thinking about it because what blah, 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 blah. Well, no. And I can't go there. What is written is sacrosanct. I get that. But when we have things like Goliath's sword, it starts to get the wheels turning. And there's nothing wrong with iron sharpening iron and talking about it.
Yeah.
We're not making a doctrine about it.
Right.
We're not saying if you don't believe us, we're just saying, hey, something's going on with that sword. The Bible's silent. We don't know, but it might be something like this.
Yeah.
That's all.
So, with that said, the sword, was it crafted here or somewhere else? That kind of does steer into the disclosure stuff too, because we're talking like the very basic idea of reverse engineering something is not hard to understand.
Right.
I think it was when the Russians were I think it was Russians bombing the Ukrainians with a certain type of drone that we got a hold of. We took it to America. We reverse engineered it, and then we just started using it on them. So the idea of reverse engineering is not a hard concept to understand. Back in the 80s, you have Bob Lazar saying that he was hired.
Engineering.
Yeah,
Area 51.
exactly.
That's
so. And this is my perspective, and I don't care if you agree or not. That's fine. But I think there's a large chunk of what we see in the skies that, if it is ours, is still coming from somewhere else. It was reverse engineered. This understanding that we have to create craft and weaponry that seems sci-fi is because it didn't come from our normal science. It came from somewhere else. It was given to us to back engineer. And I believe that these, I'll just say loosely, entities, because I think that the second heaven realm is a very complex kingdom of darkness. I think that these entities have been gifting technology and crafts and gadgets to us for us to reverse engineer. And I don't necessarily think it's all because they want us to use it and this, that, and the other. But what does it do to a man that is not covered in the grace of God when they have access to something that makes them feel like a God? It separates them from God, and it takes you right back to the garden where it's like you will be like God.
Same line.
Just separate. Maybe all this stuff being reverse engineered, the foundation of that house is to just make man feel more and more like a God, so they're separated from him, because Satan doesn't care if we worship him as long as we don't worship Christ.
Bingo. What you're looking at is reverse engineering here, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And so it's a mixed bag. You get craft that are seen, and specifically the diamond-shaped craft over Belgium and Europe. I believe that those are back-engineered craft. The stuff that and there's no way to tell. It's conjecture. We don't really know. The stuff that moves like this blinks out and then appears up here. We've got a film of that over Area 51, shot by Norio Hayakawa and Gary Schultz years ago, before anybody knew about Area 51. They were out there and filming this stuff. It's 1981. I mean, I was a kid then,
It's
right?
wild.
And I mean, we actually showed that in one of our films. It's actually the first film in our 10-part UFO DVD series. I mean, it's like real research. And back-engineered craft. Some of these are human-piloted alien craft. Karen Wilkinson, we published her book, Stolen City of the Harvest. She was abducted as a young girl. She was groomed by her captors. She learned how to fly the ship.
Dang.
Telepathically.
Wow.
She was groomed. She flew the ship. That might sound really weird till she became born again and spirit filled. Dolly over here, and this is Preston Dennett's gal, flies the ship, but she's not born again or spirit filled. And as far as I know, she's still being taken. So it's complex. I mean, think about Jericho and Rahab, right? If these are all Nephilim and Rahab is in the bloodline of Messiah, what's she doing there? She can't possibly be a Nephilim. So what is she? Well, we know she's a prostitute. She's a sex slave. In modern vernacular, you would call her a sex slave because she's in Jericho, which is the Nephilim stronghold. And she's there against her will, and she's a sex slave. That's what she is. Nothing has changed in the region. The supernatural world, as you pointed out, very complex. We don't have all the answers. Nobody does. But I want to address something really quickly. There are people, well-meaning people out there, who have insisted for decades that all this is demonic delusion. Well, it's not. It's not. I was out. And I should have brought. Actually, I have it in the other room. If you want to cut the camera, I can go get it for
Jack
you.
can go get it.
Jack, it's in my briefcase. If you could just bring that in.
Peggy's probably already getting it.
Yeah. Go, Peggy, go.
Racing Jack.
Go, Peggy, go, Peggy, go, Peggy, go. So sorry about that, folks. So we're out of a debris field. Gil Zimmerman, myself, Jim Peterson, and Chuck Sikowski and Frank Kimball. They took us to the debris field outside Roswell. It is in the middle of nowhere. We made a whole film on this in the debris field. That's what it's entitled. It's number 7 in our UFO film series. And I'm going to show you something. So we're out in the debris field. with
Briefcase of goodies just arrived in the studio.
Wait, thank you. Careful. Don't try this at home, folks. And
What kind of Nephilim skulls does he have in here today, kids? What in the Nephilim skull is that?
so we're out there in this.
So as he said, he's saying off mic, we were out in the debris field.
We're out in the debris field with the people I just mentioned, and Frank and Chuck have metal detectors. So, true story. I'm not making this up. I'm not embellishing it. So Gil Zimmerman, myself, and Jim Peterson were in the back of a pickup truck, at the back side of the tailgate down, getting all of our camera stuff ready, and we're praying, Lord, forgive what has happened here. We ask that you show us, give us something. And I've been praying Psalm 121, where it says, the sun will not beat down upon you by day or the moon by night. So we're out there with Frank Kilmer. Frank goes, I've been out here 20, 25 times. This is the best weather I've ever seen. We actually flew the drone. It's in the film. There is a cloud directly over us. So it should have been 95 degrees and sweltering. It's not. There's a cloud over us. So we're nice and cool the whole time we're out there. I'm not making this up. And so Frank Kimball's out there with metal detector. Chuck Sikowski's out with metal detector. Frank goes, hey guys, I got a hit. So we go running over and beep, beep. There's something there. So he starts digging down. He puts the dirt like this and he finds something. Eventually it comes out of the hole. So he's like this over the hole, doesn't go off. And he goes over the pile of dirt, beep. So now he's taking the dirt and he's sifting. It's all on film. And he goes, oh, there it is. And he brushes the dirt away to the palm of his hand. And this is one of the pieces of metal that we actually found in the debris field. We've been to a lab with it under a scanning electron microscope. It is folded within itself. It's between 2 known aluminum alloys, but it doesn't match. And,
it's that material they keep
Chuck has his
describing.
piece. They've gone with 2 different
weird-
labs. Same thing.
the weird
It's
metal.
aluminum alloy, but it doesn't match any known aluminum alloy. The thing is folded in on itself. When the metallurgist came in and I said, what do you make of this? She goes, well, it's gone through something very traumatic. I go, like a crash? She goes, yeah, like a crash. She didn't know where it was from. So that's it. That's the metal from the Roswell debris field. And folks, the Roswell debris field is in the middle of nowhere. You'd never find it in a million years. And when you get there, you expect to see a UFO on the ground, but there's nothing there. There's nothing there.
Wow.
Yeah. And so we're actually looking for a metallurgist or an electrical engineer, a scientist who out in the Los Angeles area. There's one on the East Coast, but I really don't feel like going to Rhode Island to do this. We want to put this under electrical current and run some tests and see what we see.
Oh my gosh.
So we are, according to Chuck Sikowski, we are the Tony's.
Oh, you are getting me worked out. Wow.
I know, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So we are the only film company, according to Chuck Sikowski, who have ever on camera showed a piece of the metal coming up out of a debris field.
Whoa.
Yeah. And also on my desk at home, there's a spike, a 12-inch spike, about that long. So the powers that be went into the debris field with these spikes and pounded the spikes in to offset and confuse the metal detector. So we found one of the spikes too.
So that was nefariously done.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Because they didn't get it all.
Wow.
They didn't get it all. And that's. So if you're an electrical engineer or a scientist, what we really want to do, because we've already looked at it under a scanning electron microscope, we know it's aluminum and magnesium, but again, it doesn't match any known. And the other 2 labs for Chuck's piece and Frank's piece. So we want to run it through more tests and see what happens.
Jeez.
I know.
What's the line? I can never say it the way you say it. When you open up your show about your location, how do you say it?
Coming to you from an undisclosed location somewhere deep in the heart of the Santa Monica Mountains.
Yeah, so if you just change that and somewhere deep in the Tennessee mountains, like you hear talking about that with that here, I'm like, well, this is why you tell me when we're together to be armed. you're like, you never know what's going to happen. So, all right, based on this conversation that we're having and what's sitting there on the table, is it a far-stretched thing to suggest creativity in our minds, conjecture, like you were saying, that piece of metal could have originated from somewhere in another realm
Yes.
from fallen angel technology?
Yeah. We don't know.
Right. We don't know.
But that's your hypothesis. That would be my hypothesis. So the scientific method is, this is why we want to do more testing on it. Scientific method. Our hypothesis is this is fallen angel technology. That's what it is. So we want to find out. We want to find out if this has been out in space.
Whoa.
I know. This is what we want to do.
What?
So if you can help us with that, la@lamarzuli.net. That's my email.
Wow. That is like I'm trying to rack my brain if I ever like knowingly was so close to something that I believe came from the other
I know.
side.
It's bizarre.
It's wild.
Yeah.
You didn't tell me you were bringing that.
Well, let me tell you another story. So years ago, this is 1998, 99. I had just come out with the book Nephilim, The Truth is Here. It's my first novel, published by Zondervan. We got the rights back to it.
Novel, as in you took all your information and research and put it into a story so people could digest it.
Bingo. There's actually 3 books in that story. And I got wind that Dr. Roger Lear, who had just removed his first alien implant, was going to be down at this UFO meetup group. Hopped in the car, drove down an hour or two, or whatever, to see him. I go, Roger, I understand that you've got you just took out your first implant. What was that like? And yet all of our 11 Watchers films were dedicated. Roger was in all of them. And I think number 10, he had already passed away. So we dedicated number 10 to Roger. And he goes, yeah, would you like to see it? I go, yeah. He goes, hold out your hand. I hold up my hand. He reaches into his pocket. He takes out a vial just like this, opens it up, and he puts the implant in my hand.
Like physically put it
outside
the vial.
Outside the vial.
Wow.
I'm sitting here going, oh my gosh. And when I talked about that, my Christian brothers and sisters laughed at me to scorn. Of
course.
And they all poo-pooed it until we had Emil and we took the implant out, surgery. There it was, X-ray. It was actually in his knee, below his knee. X-rays, CAT scans, the whole deal. Dr. Roger Lear's protocol. And we're in the operating theater with an ultrasound. And he's going, pretend this is below the knee. Dr. Matriciana is going like this for an hour and 20 minutes. He found the implant in the pre-op examination 2 weeks prior, within a minute. Oh, yeah, we'll see you. There it is. We'll see you 2 weeks from now. We'll take it out. We're there in the operating theater for an hour and 20 minutes. Can't find it. Holy Spirit taps me on the shoulder. You need to take authority over this. So I pray. And in a room full of non-believers, Lord, if there's powers that are shielding us, I pray that you break their power and do it soon. All of a sudden, the implant goes, boom, and it's there. It goes, what's that? It's the implant. So it's on film. It's in our Watchers series. We're the only Christian ministry to ever take out an implant. This man, Emil, was abducted. Later on in our 4th film in a UFO, there's so much. There's a corpus of work here, folks.
Yeah.
That goes on for decades. 33 films, 15 books, and I'm working on 16. So it's a corpus of work. And we're the only Christian ministry, and I'm boasting here, to ever take out an implant. I believe that these implants are the prototypes of the mark of the beast. Because these things,
no idea what
these
this
things
person is saying.
engage not with the circulatory system, with the nervous system. And I have lunch with Emil, I don't know, every couple of months, just to touch base and talk about things of the Lord. And he was taken when he was 5 years old.
Wow.
Yeah. And
Wow.
he, just like Karen, he knows when they're near, and they'll pop in and pop out and go, there's one over there.
Really?
Oh yeah. They don't get taken anymore, but we were out with Karen Wilkerson, and we were down on Navarre Beach in Florida.
Okay.
This is fairly recently, a little over a year ago. And Karen, lifelong abductee, loves the Lord. She just went through a horrific operation. Keep her in your prayers. They removed this bone growth because she's been around these things and all sorts of physical anomalies. It's no picnic.
Let me guess, the doctors don't understand it, right?
Doctors, what's this doing here?
Yeah.
Very excruciating operation. And anyway, we're out on the back deck. It's about 9 o'clock at night. It's pitch black, and you can hear the ocean. We can see the ocean, but above us, it's very dark. There's really not a lot of stars that night. And Karen's uneasy, and I go, "What's wrong?" And she goes, "They're close. They're here." And so we're just sitting on the deck, and she all of a sudden goes, "There it is," and she points, and you see this craft, right, blending into the sky, and it comes. I pretend this is the craft. It starts here and goes like this.
Wow.
Across the sky in like a blink of an eye. And it was a disc shape. And it wasn't flying like this. It was flying like this. So the disc was like not upside down. Vertical. Standing up vertical. To show the bottom of the disc.
That's wild, because I'm pretty sure Lazar talks about, because I don't know how I feel about Lazar sometimes. Like and mainly my skepticism with Lazar comes in when people that I respect have skepticism. But like from my perspective, I'm like, the dude called a lot of stuff, But one of the things that he talked about with these craft, and I remember him talking about it on Rogan years ago when I was driving truck still, how these things, I think he even said they would go vertical, but the way he described it is that they were able to remove the gravity in front of the craft, and the craft is actually falling into a gravity-less environment, and that's how they move.
Yeah.
And so that kind of fits exactly with what he was saying.
It's unbelievable. And when Lazar came out in the 90s, I was down at the Little Alien with Gary Schultz and Norio Hayakawa, and who's the inventor of the Learjet, right? Not the father, but the son was there. All talking about UFOs. About 40 of us made a little UFO meetup thing at the Little Alien outside Area 51. And the next day, in walks Bob Lazar, and
Wow.
I get to talk to him.
Really?
Yeah,
Just randomly?
Yeah, just randomly.
Wow.
Just walked. Well, he knew about the conference, and I said, "I watched your film. I believe everything that you're saying."
Yeah,
And
it's live.
this is the days before. This is like 94, 95, something like that. So I don't have cameras, tape. I have nothing like
Yeah.
that with me. I'm just starting out, and that part of that led to the Nephilim trilogy and all that stuff. And then decades later, I was back at the Little Alien with Hear the Watchman.
Jeez.
And instead of just, here I was lecturing in the Little Alien, and it was not lost on me because the beginning of all this was 94, 95, and then the first book came out. So now it's like 2018, 2017, 18, 19, somewhere in that window before COVID. And I'm down there with, 2 busloads of people and lecturing. And it's just like, it's all the Lord. The Lord raised me up for this. I didn't sign up for it. I'm a worship leader. I'm a professional musician. I play every day. I'm a composer. I compose all the music for our film. And that's what all I wanted to do was make a Christian record, and tried to do that. And never got to square one because the Lord kept going, I know you think that that's what you're here for, but you're here for this.
Wow.
And I didn't, so this is why I can literally say the glory is His.
Yeah.
Like the new book, The Waiting Room, He gave me a cosmic download on that. We're driving a dinner, and all of a sudden I go, oh my gosh, the Lord just gave me a novel. I can't put first novel in 20 years. And people who have read it, and it just came out, just released, but people who have read it, they laugh and cry their way through the book. It's a very intense book, but there's a lot of humor in the book, but there's a lot of intensity.
Yeah.
And it's a novel. It's I think the Lord's doing something with it. So glory to the King.
Always.
Glory
Yeah.
to the King, because this is His doing.
Yeah, that's wild. So the implant that he put in your hand, what did it look like? Did it look like a microchip? Because like when I think of implants, I think of like some kind of like microchip.
Yeah.
That's what it looked
Yeah.
like?
It was about the size of a grain of rice. We took
It's
it
like
to
a
Skill
dog
Lab. We looked at it
ID
under a scanning electron
tracking
microscope. We cut it in half. That was number 17. That became a film. I won't go there. That they used our film to make that film, which is we never received anyway.
That sounds frustrating.
Yeah, it is. And of course, that's on Netflix, but we can't get our film on Netflix.
Interesting how
Because
that
we have a
works.
Christian perspective.
Yeah,
Oh, gee,
yeah.
nothing for you, buddy.
Yeah, you know what the great thing is though?
Yeah.
Like we got the power of Christ behind us,
Yeah.
so we don't really need Netflix.
Thank you. Bye. That was put in Emil when he was 5 years old. He was 45 when we took it out. So
It was put in a meal?
Emil. It was put in Emil.
During introduction?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
He was 5 years old. So it started to act up. There's a woman I've been talking to that was also taken, who's had the same type of severe sharp pains. I'm trying to get her to get an x-ray up in the neck area, shoulder area. There might be an implant there. I'm not saying there is, but there might be. So when we took this out, it had already been in him for 40 years. And it's all in our film. You can see the incision. We open the incision. There's the implant. Right. And there's no entry wound. No entry wound. So how was that done? And the last one that Roger took out, we were the last implant that he took out, number 17. But number 16 was the one before that, which was so hard they couldn't cut it with a diamond blade saw. They took the
Wow.
implant to a laboratory and opened it up with a laser. Inside that were double-walled nanotubes. So what is this thing? In my opinion,
How big was this?
about the size of a grain of rice, a little bit less. And so all I can tell you is this, and I've written about this and talked about it in our films. We know that the only time that the Lord comes down on His creation and all of this is when the Nephilim are present. Their judgment is there. There is no redemption. There's no grace and mercy. The flood happens. 8 people are saved. You take the mark of the beast, what happens? You wind up in the lake of fire. Why? Where's the grace and mercy? Well, what about Jesus? And the reason for that is just conjecture. That implant will change your DNA. You will no longer be human. You won't be human anymore. Whoever is putting these implants in people have spent an enormous amount of time, energy, and resources into doing this. These are, in my opinion, prototypes to the mark of the beast. That's what they are. Because it's all from the same source. It's all Rust Isdar, Hell's Kitchen. It's all from the dark side. And this is why you take that into you. Yeah, you'll live disease-free. But then it backfires and you start getting sores on your body. So that's what I think it is.
That's wild because I'm pretty sure right now, recently, I think it was Musk or some of these tech guys are talking about with the
Wait, so
technology that
that's interesting concept. Makes me wonder if you get the implant taken out, does your DNA go back to being human, or are you just perpetually not human forever, even when the implant's taken out? I have questions.
the
gonna
idea
bother me
of
now.
living well beyond your years and not even dying is
That's
just
the
becoming a
lie.
reality.
Yeah, that's what that's.
You think so? You think that's a lie? It's not. It's because God says I will limit him to 120 years. Okay.
Yeah, this is another reason why he's got to come back. I'm not a date setter, but more than likely next Wednesday. But I mean, he's got to he's got to come back because we're at a point like the days of Noah.
Well, do you think that it's a lie, or in a similar situation with Babylon, it's like if he does not do something, it will become possible?
Yeah, he's got to intervene.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we're up to a point where he's got to intervene. He just has to intervene at this point. Has to at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is. I mean, they're playing with stuff. Look, we know this much of a picture that's this big, and these scientists in underground bunkers with the DNA chimeras. You know.
Yeah.
I mean, who knows what they've created that they're not showing us?
Yeah.
Who knows what they've got? You know, I've said this publicly. Our president, Donald Trump.
Divas is modified DNA, so I cannot go back. It's for death, but not to find it. Well, in this situation, I mean, he's talking about the people got abducted are taking their microchips out. So are they like tainted now? Are they gonna go to the lake of fire, or can they be redeemed? I don't know.
Needs to create an executive order.
Maybe in this case it would be redeemable since they didn't choose to have it. They were abducted. Maybe it's about intent. I'm not sure.
To armed servicemen, 250 of the best go to Area 51, 250 go to Wright-Patterson Field with congressmen, congresswomen, senators, the whole deal, right? And obviously they have a contingent of military people with them, 250 of the best, 250 to Wright-Pat, 250 to Area 51, and the press is there, and here's the executive order, open it up. Open it up. That's what needs to happen. Because nobody, in my opinion, has been in Area 51 since Nixon. And that's conjecture because Nixon took Jackie Gleason someplace. And when you look at his Western White House, San Clemente, it's just a short hop over to where Area 51 is. I think he took Gleason there because Gleason said, you know, sort of like deathbed confession stuff. This is what he saw. Of course, it was plastered all over the National Enquirer. And they do that to deliberately obfuscate the truth. And so now in modernity here, I'm jumping from that to this in Congress, what is the truth? People will go, well, what are the grays? Why crash a saucer, you know, in Roswell? Why deliberately do that? Some people go, it was a Nazi bell. It's not a Nazi bell. How many eyewitnesses?
The Glocka?
Yeah. I mean, how many eyewitnesses do I need to produce before we eliminate that and go, well, it's obviously a physical craft. In Age of Disclosure, I think it's the physicist Pudov who says some of these craft are gifts. They're crashed deliberately. So people go, why would the enemy, blah, 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 who are the great, da, da, da. So we need to, and this is problematic in the church because a lot of the church doesn't distinguish and differentiate between fallen angels and demons.
I kind of have a theory that they would be crashed intentionally. The gift would be to aid in the Great Deception, like the Project Bluebeam type shit. Because how are we going to get convincing alien craft unless they bring it to us to put on their little puppet show?
Completely different entities. Fallen angels do not need bodies to appear. Number one, demons do. Book of Enoch. Oh, there he goes. The Book of Enoch again. Oh my gosh, it's not part of the canon.
Relax. Just book one.
Just book one. Take a deep breath. Why is Jude quoting Enoch? Jude is whose brother? Jesus' brother. Conjecture. I'm being a little silly here. So, you know, Jesus and Jude are living together. Jesus is in his 20s, hasn't started his ministry yet, comes in from the carpentry shop. Who knows if Joseph is alive, right? We're not told when Joseph left, and he goes, hey, Jude. Anyway, sorry. So he goes, I just read the book of Enoch. It's really a cool scroll. Have you read it? No, I haven't read it, Jesus. Well, maybe you should read this. This might help you a little later on. I mean, I'm being really silly here.
I love it though.
Yeah, but right?
Yeah.
We don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, Jude is quoting the book of Enoch. You don't quote something unless it's part
Yeah.
of who you are.
Yeah.
And he's not going, what did the book of Enoch say? He knows it.
Mm-hmm.
He knows it. And, Jesus said to be like the days of Noah when he returns. So where was I before I went down this three-part rabbit hole? I was like way down there.
Angels, demons.
Yeah, angel. Okay, so
Not
the
bodies,
book of
fallen
Enoch.
angels,
Okay?
yeah.
Come back, LA. So we know that the demons are the disembodied spirits of the Nephilim because the book of Enoch tells us demons need something to inhabit. Fallen angels don't. Fallen angels can appear, right, and disappear. They move in and
where
out.
the gray bodies come in.
Demons need a body, a human body, an animal, or an object to possess, like the swine, right? And they go into the swine, but they're legion. We are many in a demon-possessed man that Jesus heals. So we know that that's a fact. So the enemy, the dragon, and see, this is where it goes right off the rails for a lot of Christians. They can't possibly follow this. And it took me a while. I just didn't jump over that line. I would move up to that line and go, this is really too weird. And I'd move back. And then I'd jump up to the line again and go, can't go there, and move back. It took me about a year. And I don't, we used to speak at conferences, we really don't anymore. This is the deep end of the pool, and you don't start the conference by going, I'm going to tell you can't go there. People go, and run out of the room. And I get that because I did the same thing. So the demons are the disembodied spirits of the Nephilim. They need something to inhabit, as I said, either a human body, an animal, an object, whatever. So the enemy knows this, right? And the enemy has access to all sorts of stuff. And he creates the grays, the big heads, the big black eyes, the little short guys, 4 to 5 feet tall. He creates the grays. These are avatars. That's all they are.
So let me just
They're
make sure
avatars.
I'm understanding the logistics of this, because I've heard you talk about it before, but I think I just want to make sure.
The Avatar.
So who's creating the
Plot
grays
twist.
now?
The fallen angels.
And fallen angels creating the grays, and that's for the inhabitation of
Yes,
demons.
if the demon can go into it and inhabit it and then manifest in our dimension. This is why they all look very automaton-like. This is why when they see one, according to people that have been close to them, there's a slit for a mouse, basically no nose, no reproductive organs. They're automatons. They are. Karen Wilkinson calls them meat suits. because
Decepticons.
That's exactly what they are. They're meat suits. The demon inhabits this avatar and is able to walk around.
Transformers.
Oh, that's preposterous, LA. Truncated
Robots.
view of supernatural, baby.
Just got-
Yeah.
Satan's out number 2 to 1. He's building an army.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing with the abduction. He's building an army. I mean, this subject, that's why we have 10 films on it. We are the only Christian ministry that has 10 films on the whole UFO phenomenon.
Yeah.
From Close Encounters of the first, second, third, fourth, fifth kind.
Now, my
to-
question is, are these gray bodies robotic in nature, or are they hybridized human, maybe some kind of animal body that is then possessed? Interesting to think about.
Abductions, cattle mutilations, crop circles, 2 films on Roswell, Exoneration, where we talk about Jesse Marcel Sr., who was basically the Lee Harvey Oswald of ufology. He's the patsy. Oh, he confused the weather balloon. And well-meaning Christians still parrot that ridiculous narrative where we've shown over and over again that this ain't a weather balloon, folks.
I can't believe that's sitting on my table.
I can't either. In the film, I'm going, it's in my hand. I'm going, we got a piece of the metal.
That's wild.
Yeah, it really is wild.
I mean, it's just to think that, like, what I'm looking at right there theoretically came from another realm,
Yeah. Yeah.
And
So maybe the grays are early prototype of the hoppers, where they're like not a convincing animal yet. And they decided, hey, this kind of works with an alien thing, though. Look at this. We're call these aliens. I don't know.
and how, like, again, like, people have a hard time comprehending how that's even possible. That's something that seems so physical and real and metallic can actually be coming here from another dimensional world. I would call second heaven, for lack of better terms.
Second heaven.
Yeah.
Isn't it funny how when Michael and his angels fight with the devil and his angels, they're booted to earth. Woe to the inhabitants of earth, because the devil is here. He knows his time is short. How do they fight? Where is the second heaven? Obviously, and what does that look like when they actually show up? And so I call it the Great Eviction Notice, because that's exactly what it is. Finally, after millennia, they're booted out of the second heaven. Hallelujah. In the book, The Waiting Room, kind of giving some of the plot away, but there's a scene in the second heaven, only for a very brief time, towards the very back of the book, where the protagonist is escorted by two angels to get back to Earth. But I shouldn't have even said that. Cut. but yeah, I mean, look, this stuff is heating up, and the problem with the church is we underestimate what the dark side is up to.
And their abilities.
We underestimate it.
Yeah. And you just mentioned about the enemy building an army.
Yeah, that's what he's doing. Breeding program.
Yeah. And that's like, that itself is such a foreign concept to your average everyday person. Christian, doesn't matter. That's like, what are you talking about? But
instead of accepting that the gray might be from space, he has to keep his bias. I understand where your perspective could be coming from, but if you look at the Aleister Crowley stuff, where the alien term was coined from, he was describing his interaction with a demon and drew them in the shape of like what we know as the Greys. And they decided to call it an alien after that point. And if you think about how scientists have never found life on other planets around us, and yet we have so many UAP sightings here, that tells you that there is life besides humanity. We are not alone, but they are not on other planets. They are in our own planet, whether that's another layer of the Earth or interdimensionally. Anyways.
Troy Brewer told me a word when he was describing demons, and it's just really stuck with me. He said a lot of times people view demons as wisps. And I always struggled with trying to find the right way to describe it, but that's the best way I got, is that like when people look at demons, it's just like their idea is just, it's a wisp, it's invisible, it never can have any kind of physical, tangible nature to it. And that's a big block for people to get to the other side of the table, which we're on, which is like, that's a demon, but it's physical. Yup, that's a demon. But the enemy has been at this for a long time, building this army out. When it comes to where that falls, when it comes to
some people think underwater, you find that most fascinating. I mean, it's not out of the question because, even the military has government bases underwater. There's underwater caves. There's, if you look at the lore, that some of the women taken as Nephilim or fallen angel wives that made the Nephilim, they lost their souls and ability to like go to heaven essentially in the lore and became sirens, mermaids. So it's not totally out of the question that there would be these other entities underwater or subterranean with the tunnels and the cities that are speculated to exist.
The idea of the opposite side of that, I kind of told you that we might get into something that I want to talk to you about, and because this conversation went this way, I'm going to bring it up. And I want your pure perspective on it.
I completely disregard the possibility of extraterrestrials. So we're not completely disregarding it. We're saying we have not found evidence, but we have, according to the disclosure and like the footage being shown, we have seen the non-human technology in the skies of Earth. We haven't seen it floating around other planets. We've only seen it floating around our planet. So,
so I'm going to give you the enemy side of it first. Okay. Years ago, when I was still living in the Philadelphia area, I interviewed a guy who told me a story about his friend who, when his friend was probably, say, 12, 13, found himself while he was sleeping in a very lucid dream, walking through a tunnel system that opened up into a large room, and there was a man, an entity, dressed in black, I believe it was black, recruiting him to work for him. He said yes.
I never had these kinds of dreams growing up.
Boy, at the time,
it's crazy.
That started an entire life of supernatural experiences that was later documented in a book that's not available anywhere anymore. I have talked to the author. The author took it off the shelves because of unrelated things that they said, but it basically, some stalkers came out of the book and things like that. Anyways, so in this documentation, though, in his story...
You ever had weird dreams growing up? Where it's like seeing stuff like this, like almost like remote viewing kind of shit in a dream? I've never had that kind of stuff. I always had being chased by like non-human creatures, or if they were human, it was never like anyone in particular. It was always a black silhouette of a human, like a almost like half translucent. It was never like a specific person chasing me. But that's like a reoccurring one for me, being chased by stuff. Like, yeah, like a shadow figure. Or I guess you could kind of call it like a xenomorph type of creature, but I say that looking back on my dream, like remembering what I dreamed about. It's the best way I can describe it, but I had never seen any of those movies at the time. I was really young. My parents didn't let me watch any alien movies, any scary movies, any sexual movies. So very sheltered. But yeah, something like that.
He would say things like, it was like he said he was operated on by Nephilim, and I think he said angels. I would say fallen angels. And Nephilim and angels operated on for him to have abilities that he wouldn't normally have. Now, this sounds like a wild dream until this guy that's telling me the story tells me where he comes in on it. So they wind up one night, they're out like smoking a cigarette in the driveway, and they see a light in the sky. And so his friend says, let's go see what that light is. And they wind up leaving town trying to catch this light, essentially, but it just seemed to always keep a perfect distance away. They stopped their car along a field at one point, and when they got out to look at the light, he said that he heard some kind of like growling and moaning coming in towards the car. They get in the car, they keep driving, and they stop again, and that's when his friend's demeanor changed, and he's like, "Get back in the car now." He starts racing back to town. He's like, "I'm sorry I involved you in this." And he's like, "What are you talking about?" And he starts telling him this story. They get back to the house. This guy's girlfriend confirms everything because she's experienced things with him. But he said he sees his friend get out of the car, run down the road, up around the block, and come all the way around to this side in a speed that shouldn't be possible. And he hears something getting killed. And his friend comes walking down the street covered in this black, sludgy, oozy stuff. And he said, "I'm really exhausted. I need to go home and rest." And him and his girlfriend get in the car and they leave. And he's like, "What just happened?" And I'm summarizing this long story. This same guy's telling me the story has a younger brother, who he didn't get along with at all growing up. And his brother starts telling him how he is being...
When he says oozy stuff, I think about that Power Rangers movie.
Ladies and gentlemen, the ooze is back.
He's so handsome.
Why, thank you.
Ew. Disgusting.
These really weird dreams where he was recruited by an entity to work for it. This entity has a name by Baal, and he accepted as well. In fact, I think, let me backtrack actually. This part of the story, I don't think his brother was actually sleeping. You know the Keys of Solomon? And the images, I can't remember, it's like a frog.
This story is like so hard to follow. Is it just me?
I think maybe a rabbit, that are images connected to that. His brother wound up seeing all three images.
What I have noticed is the host is not good at explaining things. This is not the only episode where he's talked and tried to tell a story, and I'm just like, what the fuck did I just hear? He's not... I don't know if it's his cadence or like the way that he says things, or how he puts his tone on. I don't know. He's so hard to follow.
Frog, go behind a tree. He goes behind the tree, and there was a rabbit or whatever it is. He gets to the third one, and there's a man standing there recruiting him, Baal. I've met his brother. His brother has Baal's sigil tattooed on his back shoulder. He accepted the invitation, doesn't know how to get out of it. A lot of wild things like that, right? This guy who's telling me the story tells me that at one point his brother woke up one night screaming that he had a terrible dream. He says that these monkey things were after him, and it's just a bad dream until he turned around. There's scratches all over his back. Yeah. So he calls his friend, who tells him this wild story that he saw his friend run real fast. He's like, maybe he can help. His friend arrives at the house and says, basically, it's gonna get really weird right now. I can help your brother, but it's gonna get really weird. And he said he sees his friend literally grow like 7 inches in front of him. and physically transform. And when it was done, he
The
looks at him and
fuck?
says, so and so is not here right now, but he'll be back. And it was like this swapping of something. And he said it looked like him, but it didn't really look like him. It was weird. So there's this whole story that unfolds, and there's no happy ending to the story as far as I know. The man that this story is about is aware of who I am. He has my information if he wants to get a hold of me. But it really rocked me because it was the first time that I was able to actually track down certain things, such as the author who wrote the book about their friend, and they confirmed that they saw him do things that he shouldn't physically be able to do. And it's all about like transcending these realms. It started with dreams, then it started happening automatically. And this book was written in 2012 before my show existed.
Wow.
So they were just college kids back then. And so I have this whole thing, and then I have the opposite. I have these people who are Christians who are saying that they believe. I'll just put it this way, and this is not me saying they believe as in I don't believe or anything. This is what they're saying. They believe that God is pulling them into the second heaven, essentially, for lack of better terms, to operate against what the enemy's doing, building up human agents. And I've had quite a few people who come across my path who are claiming such things. And one of them, I referenced earlier to you off air, is that pastor from Middle Tennessee. And as somebody who's documenting people's stories, it's radical, it's wild, but it's paradigm shifting. And it's like, you don't really know exactly what to do with it. But I've been...
What is second heaven? Or they just mean like another spiritual realm? Is like, did the first heaven fill up? Or like, what are they... I don't think you ever just actually confirmed what second heaven is. I know there's a show called Seventh Heaven. Second heaven's where the demons and angels reside. Oh, so the spiritual plane. Third heaven is heaven. Okay.
And kind of thrown curveballs before that I didn't know what to do with at the time. But according to this story that I just real briefly laid out to you, it paints a narrative of the enemy building an army. That army at times has human agents involved. And then is it beyond the realm of possibility, not even possibility, but maybe you have it, maybe you have an objection to this. And maybe it's like, God wouldn't do this because, but like if the enemy's doing something, building these agents of darkness, and some of that is man, would God do something similar? Have you ever heard of anything like this?
Well, if you look at the biblical narrative, all sorts of strange stuff happens. Philip is speaking to the Ethiopian eunuch, right? Mm-hmm. And after he's done, he's transported, that's by location, to another area. So Jesus is in the boat with the disciples, and storm's there, be still. That's it, boom. Like a wet washcloth, just the storm stops. And then it says, and instantly we were at our destination by location. Jesus is in the desert fasting for 40 days. The dragon comes and takes him where? To a high place. Shows him all the kingdoms of the earth in a moment of time. How's that possible? That's by location. And he's going through time. He's going through space-time as we know it. He's going through all the kingdoms of the earth in a moment of time. How is that possible? Then he takes him from there to the temple on a high place by location. So again, the church never talks about this. How does Jesus move from point A to point B? So we're looking at stuff that we don't understand. But it's
that kind of plays into a funny, or I guess interesting thought I had earlier, where it's like, I guess I was watching Age of Disclosure, and they talk about how sometimes the crafts will come down for like a few hours, then go back up. And I'm just thinking about like, what if that's Jesus time traveling when he was looking at all the kingdoms of the earth or whatever, but we're just now seeing it in our time, like with like, if you've seen Harry Potter, the third movie with the time travel, and it's like someone's got to do the Patronus, someone's got to throw that thing at you or whatever. Like they were experiencing the time travel version of themselves. Just an interesting thought. What if what if like when the craft just like hovers there and then disappears? What if that's just like we've spotted like oh, there's Jesus in this time, but from a long time ago when he time traveled.
It's there
I don't
in
know.
the Bible.
It's interesting.
So I've heard this before where people are offered a deal, especially in Hollywood. There was a woman on our show that an actress, pretty gal, that basically said, I was offered a deal. This is years ago. And if I told you the other people in our little circle, you would know them instantly because they made the deal. And one night I'm getting ready to go to bed in my apartment. This well-dressed man just appears in the room out of nowhere. And handsome guy, like leading actor with a little contract and promises this, and this. She didn't sign it. The other people did. So to your point, this is more common than people realize, whether it's in a dream state that people are taken or they're fully awake, like in the case of this woman. How do you get out of it? In the name of Jesus. Even if you're a Satanist that's been, or tattooed, bald, the whole deal. You go to the Lord, He can take you out. He can heal you. He can take you out of this. As far as Christians being used, being taken by the Lord, again, that's why I led off with things happening, people being moved around. We know it's possible. So because we're in the end times, let me just tell you a quick story. About 10 years ago.
Can you use the mic closer to you?
Oh, sorry.
You just pull it towards you. Thanks.
About 10 years ago, I was getting these very lucid dreams, and no one knew what they were.
Is that common for you?
No, not anymore. I mean, I dream every night, and they're a lot of times they're very troubling. Other times they're really cool. So it just depends. I have to pray.
Yeah.
Lord, please. Last night was tough, but I digress. These were something different. And I remember traveling, like flying through the air, and I was on the coast of Ireland or someplace like that. Just beautiful, very pleasurable, very wonderful feeling of euphoria. And so I went to a friend of mine and said, this has been going on now, not every night, but once or twice a week. He goes, well, the next time it happens, ask the Lord in the dream. If not from you, take it. So a couple of nights later, sure enough, I'm flying someplace, and I go, Lord, if this isn't from you, please take it. Just like that, gone. Just like that, I'm back. And it's never happened since. Wow. So lucid dreaming is real. The enemy always makes it very palatable. You want it. It's very pleasurable. It's euphoric.
Yeah.
It's not, not some demon screeching at you. So, the supernatural world is real. Could the Lord be taking people up?
Is that why I never have good
I'd be really
dreams?
leery of
I don't
that,
have enough
and I would
demons.
be challenging. I would ask the next time, if you're watching and you're one of those people, Lord, if this isn't from you, please take it. And He will take it. He will.
My dreams usually just like stupid, like Nick's doing stupid shit that's gonna get him killed or something, or like I have to pee really bad and I can't find a bathroom, or like I'm in high school again randomly, and it's stressful because I can't find my fucking class. Like I never have good dreams anymore. When I was a kid, I could dream like that I could like bend reality and I could have powers and I could have Pokemon and I could do all this shit, and it was cool. It was like my sandbox every night. When I became an adult, or maybe somewhere in my teenage years, started shifting, and my dreams are never like nice anymore. They're not always nightmare inducing, but they're just kind of like annoying. I don't know. They're just like stressful usually in some way. Like way more stressful than my real life, which is crazy. And I think that is kind of what like made me shift towards going to bed later and later in teenage years through adulthood. It's because like I'm procrastinating going to sleep because like my dreams used to be peaceful and fun and now they're not anymore. I don't know. And now I'm just a night owl.
But then there's other things, like I won't mention names or anything, where we were supposed to meet a certain somebody here. And and the Lord gave me a word as I was writing, and it basically was this: Saul knew better to go and consult the witch of Endor. He knew better. He was the one that made the proclamation, get all these guys out of here. And now he's seeking out the witch of Endor. So it'd be like you and me, just like Saul. I don't need to hear from the Lord. I already know I don't need to be looking at this thing.
Yeah.
I don't need to seek it out. Now, if the Lord tells me to do it, gives me direct order, that's a different thing. But I don't need to look at an object to discern whether I should, or I don't need to hear from the Lord whether I need to go and look at an object.
Yeah.
It's pretty much obvious. If it's from the dark side, I want nothing to do.
So chat saying those dreams you just mentioned are the interpretations of anxiety, which is weird because I think for the years that I was grinding social media and I was like the most miserable actually in my waking moments, I never could remember my dreams really at night, unless I had a night terror randomly. But other than that, like most of the time I just don't remember them. But then when my life became less miserable and I started enjoying my day to day more is when my dreams got more like memorable and stressful, which is weird. It's like, I don't know. I don't know why. It doesn't feel like I have anxiety.
Yeah,
but
that's
it's
my
just
thoughts
like,
on it.
rah.
So people that just heard that, I'll say from my perspective, you contacted me about a guy who might have an artifact, and you and I talked on the phone about it a little bit, and even on the phone call, you repeated yourself a lot, saying, "I don't know what this is. It could be this. It could be that." And I don't even want to say some of the suggestions you were saying, but it was like we came to this agreement. We're going to pray about this,
Right.
And I prayed about it, and I didn't feel necessarily apprehension. I didn't feel at ease with the meeting ground being my studio.
Yeah.
And so I was like, let's find a neutral meeting ground, and then I think the next thing I heard, I think Derek had told me, he said meeting's canceled, and he told me why, and I was just like, wow. So it confirmation
Yeah,
of the uneasy
pretty cool.
nature, and we're just moving on. But that's stuff that I'm trying to get better at and learn
Well,
from
we
people.
all are.
Like
We all are.
You've been down the road of world travels, journeys, and having at times like your life is. I mean, I would feel it if I were you. I feel like, man, am I living in a movie right now? Like some of the stuff that but in the middle of that euphoric feeling, to have the wisdom to ground yourself and be like, is this what the Lord wants for me?
Right. And I've only learned that through not doing that. But let me tell you a story. 2017, I'm getting ready to go to church. We were still going to church at that time. And we had already done the 10 Watches series with Richard Shaw, my former business partner. So I'm in the bedroom, Peggy's in the bathroom getting ready, and I mind my own business. And the Lord just goes, Holy Spirit just goes, gives me one word, Fatima. Oh my gosh. It's 2017. It's the 100-year anniversary of the Fatima apparitions. Oh my gosh. I walk in, go, Peg, we're going to Portugal. We're going to Fatima. And like a week, two later, we get this $12,000 donation from these people that we never met.
Wow.
Which paid for the whole trip. Those were the days where I was filming and Peggy would press the red button. It was just really ridiculous, right? And we were the great guide, Francisco Carrera. Hello, Francisco, if you're watching. And so everything is going pretty well. And one night we're in Porto, the northern part of Portugal. So we'd already been to Fatima, which is, for those of you who don't know, Fatima is where the so-called Virgin Mary appeared to the three children. Yeah. Lucia, who was 10, Francisco, who was 9, and Jacinta, who was 7. And they were illiterate peasants. And it's the stuff of Catholic lore. We delved into it like crazy, and we discovered stuff that it was a modern day UFO event. And we have pictures to prove it, literally pictures to prove it, because the photographer, Joshua Benoliel, was there on October 13th, 1917. He took 10 to 12 different pictures. And one of them shows, it looked kind of like this, like a disc-like object just sitting in the sky directly over the apparition site. It looks just like that. It's very faint. This is, the photograph itself is 100 years old. And the reason why we know that is a professor of semiotics, Jose Machado, which that's how you pronounce his name in Portuguese, not Jose, but Jose Machado, was a professor of semiotics, and he had access to the sanctuary at Fatima to look at the photographs. He gets there, no one knows where they are. And they're not photographs, they're glass plates. Glass plates in the wooden box cameras. After 3 hours, they find the glass plates tucked away in some closet someplace. It's just like Raiders of the Lost Ark with the same thing. He's looking at these things and he's going, we have problems. What do you mean? There's something else here that shouldn't be here. So we published a photograph in our 2 films on Fatima. And he states on the record that this object directly, let's say this is the apparition site, this object in the sky directly above the apparition site is not a scratch. It's not a artifact. It's not anything artificial. It is intrinsic in the glass plate. It's there in the sky. And it clearly shows a disc. Clearly shows a disc-like object. Eyewitnesses talked about looking up and seeing disc-like objects. There's no, in the vernacular, there's no UFO, flying saucer, UAP. That's not in the lexicon. That doesn't come in the mid-40s. This is 1917. So we've already done that. We're filming, and we're up in the northern part filming other things, which made its way into the film. There's 2 films on Fatima. And I'm laying in bed one night, and I'm awakened. And remember, the Lord told me to go here. I'm awakened by what I can only describe as a principality. And I am hit, and I mean hit. Unlike anything I've ever experienced. It was like a pornographic fire hose.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
That was attached to my brain, and I could not shut it off. I'm sitting there going, the blood of Jesus, the blood of the Lord, stop this, please, Lord. And no power. Zippo. No power. And I'm laying on my side, holding myself, going, Lord, I can't do this. I'm leaving in the morning. I'm leaving in the morning. I'm done. You got the wrong guy for this? It's the one I signed up for, and I'm terrified. Terrified. I can't stop it. Finally, it stops. Feel the Holy Spirit's peace. And as I said, I'm leaving in the morning. Before it stopped, the Lord just said, trust the process. At 3 o'clock in the morning. Not what you want to hear. So the next morning,
I hate this process, Lord.
this process really sucks.
Yeah.
And people go, well, why would the Lord allow that? There's something in your life that must be sin, blah, 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 blah. You know, all the Pharisees.
Yeah.
Okay. Why does God take Ezekiel into the temple and show him the detestable things? Do you think Ezekiel goes, yeah, let's go? He doesn't want to go there.
Yeah.
I didn't want to see the stuff I was seeing, but the Lord did it for a reason. The next day, I'm interviewing this guy who's a philosopher and historian. I go, what was here before the Christian era? What was here? What was here before the Romans and the Greeks? Oh, that was the goddess Mora. Okay, who would present herself as a beautiful woman, seduce the men, then turn into a serpent and eat them. I'm just sitting there going like, what?
Wow.
And he goes, oh, and by the way, there's still serpent cults in the northern part of Portugal where we are that worship the goddess Mora. I mean, you can't make this stuff up.
Some bullshit.
So we're there exposing this, and this is why the Lord allowed me to be hit. I mean, I get it now. Do I want to go back and do that? Absolutely not. You think Ezekiel wants to see the detestable, that's a mouthful, the detestable things in the temple, and then he goes, I'll show you even worser things. Worser should be a word, don't you think?
It should be. You're making up words. That's right.
We should petition. We want to use, because it just rolls worser. It was worser. I mean, it's genius, right? So, so Ezekiel doesn't want to see any of this stuff. Doesn't. But the Lord takes him in and shows him. So I don't want to go back. I never, I didn't sign up for this. Trust the process.
Yeah.
So, the Lord stretches us sometimes in ways that we don't want to be stretched.
So when you mentioned, I forget the name of that goddess or whatever. What was God?
Mora.
So when it comes to like the goddess Mora, clearly you have an attack. And when you look at this through your worldview or biblical worldview. Now I'm having a hard time. You know what I'm saying though. How do you? What kind of? Where do you place Mora in your understanding of the enemy in the unseen realm?
Okay. In the unseen realm, that's a Mike Heiser.
Right. Heiserisms.
Yeah, it is. I mean, Mike is the one that came up with that. Bully for Mike. But there are certain territories that we know the earth was divided. And when the Prince of Persia, when Daniel prays, the angel gets through, but it takes 21 days. He's got to get Mike and the boys. This goes back to an early part of our conversation. So Mike and the gang come in, they fight with the Prince of Persia. Obviously, the prince can be injured in some way because the angel gets through. It also opens up a can of worms. Why not? Why can't the angel just do an end run? Why does he have to go through this gate, this doorway? He has to go, in order to get to Daniel, he's got to come through this doorway. Well, the Prince of Persia is guarding it. No entry. Sorry, not getting through. Then Mike and the guys come in, boom, blow open the doorway. Angel can get through. I mean, it's one of the few glimpses that we get into the supernatural world. It's one of the very few. So there are principalities which have never been deposed. There's a principality over the nation of Iraq. There's a principality over the nation of Iran. These principalities have never been deposed. I would say Syria is definitely another one. Absolutely. Portugal, same thing. And you look at it, Mora, the goddess worship, the goddess Mary being worshipped at Fatima. What's the difference? Nothing, in my opinion.
Wow.
And by the way, folks, with all due respect to Catholics, believe what you want to believe. It's not Mary of the Bible. Mary of the Bible fades away after, the book of Acts. And by the way, who's the first person that Jesus appears to after the resurrection? Who's the first person Jesus appears to?
Be the ladies, right? Mary?
Yeah. But it's not his mother. It's Mary Magdalene. Right? Why does he do that? That's a 3-hour conversation.
Because it was his wife, right?
That's what people want to say on the other side. Gospel of Thomas.
Yeah, his offspring and everything.
But as a man, did he love her? Who's recording the Garden of Gethsemane? If the apostles were a stone's throw away, they're not recording it. So who's seeing all this? Who's seeing the angel come and comfort Jesus. Who's seeing the great drops of blood? Conjecture, Mary. She loved him. Who's at the cross? Mary. Mary, John, and Mary, his mother. And they're all going, he's got to come. How can you kill God? This is what no one gets. Fully God, fully man. Why do you think the crowd is going, you saved others, save yourself, come down? Because they know he can. The two Marys and John, they're expecting him to come down, heal himself and walk away. Look, I'm the Messiah. It's not what happens. Not what happens. Because how do you kill God? You can't. And the enemy doesn't see it because he's going, can't kill God. So he's going to come down and, it's going to blow the whole thing, blah, blah, blah. It's not what happens. It's checkmate. It's checkmate. And then the Shroud of Turin, which we have a film on.
Yeah.
So who does he appear? He appears first to Mary Magdalene, which is unbelievable. That's what I love about the Chosen. She's the first disciple. Her life is so broken, so abused, so off the rails. And that's who he uses. And I will tell you this. I got to be careful because I'll start losing it here. But sorry.
You're good.
The Lord uses the broken things. That's who he uses right here, broken. He uses broken people because then they know who it is that they serve. They know how they got to where they got to. All glory to the King.
Yeah.
I can say it without a shred of ego. I put my time in, but it's all his anointing. It's all his leading. This is why when I remember reading the book of Revelation where they're casting their crowns, I never understood that. Now I get it because they all know where it's from. And yet he throws the ball to us. We just throw it back. We're playing catch with the God of the universe, which in itself is. So Mary Magdalene, broken beyond recognition, and yet she's there at the cross. And I think, who's the first person that he appears to? It's Mary. It's Mary. So let me try my eye. Crying on camera. Way to go, man. Hey,
You're fine.
How much are they paying you for that?
It makes good cinematography. Yes, keep crying.
For Jesus.
No, it's true though. I mean, I look back at my life, and it's I went through a really dark period of my life in my mid-20s that only God legit saved me out of, and that was all pre what He's done in my life and what He's doing. And I think there's something to be said even with my life story, because I think there's a lot of people who feel like God had something planned for them. There was a calling on their life, and they strayed, and that calling has passed them by.
Yeah.
And I would say the calling might have passed you by in the sense that somebody else received the calling as well, because somebody's got to do it. But whenever you're ready to step up to the plate, I fully believe the Lord's willing to reinstate that calling on your life and use you the way He had originally intended. Because there's a literal original creation He created you to be. And that doesn't waver because of your sins that He already knew was going to happen before He created you. So it's like whenever you're ready to step up to the plate and fulfill what He created you to be, it's go time. And that's like what's so beautiful about Him using imperfect creations. It's awesome. With your world travels, like we were sharing earlier, there's just so much. I mean, the crazy things you've experienced. I shared with you some of my missteps.
Right.
Could you share with people about that time that you canceled a trip and you believe that if you would have gone on that trip, you wouldn't be here today?
Yeah, we were. I was invited to go down to Chichen Itza in 2012 because of Mayan calendar. All that stuff was going on.
Yeah.
So I told my battle buddy Russ Dizdar, and Russ said, "Well, you can't go alone. I'll go with you." And so then we had another guy, Richard Grund, he came along, and Richard knew an ex-Marine guy type thing. I won't tell you what branch, but an ex-military guy, and he wasn't Marine, but ex-military. Mm-hmm. And so we had the four of us, and we raised the money, and we were set to go. And we had like a meeting, just the four of us, to talk about strategy while we were down there, because this is Chichen Itza is a major occult deal, and this is 2012. So 2012, Richard Shaw and I.
Dude, I've been there. It's bizarre how steep those steps are. They were taller, 100%. In the game that they played, the basketball-like game with the hoop on the side, so high up, no shot that they were modern human height.
We haven't really hooked up yet, so there's a lot going on here, but it's not. There's a couple of books, but it's not like it was once Richard Shaw and I got together, and more books. And anyway, I digress. But so we're all kind of trepidatious about this, and but we're going. And Chichen Itza is a very large pyramid. in the Yucatan, which on the equinoxes, a serpent, the shadow of a serpent, you watch him slither down. And at the base of the pyramid is a big serpent head like this. It's always a serpent.
Yeah.
It's never a warm, fuzzy
Isn't that
bunny man.
interesting?
Always a serpent. Always, 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 always. And how was that constructed and who did it and why? Over 50,000 people were ritualistically slaughtered, sacrificed at that site, very charged site. We knew that going in. So the reason why the bodyguards and all this stuff, LA, are you the sacrifice? Are they going to try to do something? We had escape plans. Seriously, we had stuff planned. One of the guys had a map of the site. If something happens, we do this. So, and by the way, they will not allow you to go up to the top of that pyramid anymore. Too much weird stuff happens. That's 50,000 people were slaughtered there. When the Spanish came in, they walked up there, all the human hearts in this one. I mean, it's just like insanity, just total depravity. Welcome to hell. So, literally, welcome to hell. So, my daughter, Sarah, has a dream, and she calls us up. Peggy and I are getting ready to go out for dinner, and Sarah's on the phone, and she goes, "Dad, I had a dream. Don't go." I said, "Well, Sarah, we got everything lined up. We're going to go." "Dad, don't go. You're going to die there." So, okay, well, let me pray about it.
That's heavy.
Yeah. So I go, "Okay, Lord, if this isn't your will, if you want us not to go, don't go." By the time we got to the restaurant, Holy Spirit said, "Don't go." And I'm going, "Oh my gosh." I looked at Peggy and, "We're not going." And she goes, "Yeah, I know. The Holy Spirit told me the same thing." So I call up Russ, his czar. We're going to meet. This is Sunday night. We're on a plane on Thursday. We're all hooking up and going down to the Yucatan. Everybody's flying in. We're going, right? This is Sunday night. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. 3 days later, we're on a plane, right? Thursday. And 4 days later. And so I call up Russ and I go, "Russ, I don't know how to tell you this, man, but we've confirmed it. The Lord says, don't go. We're not going." So what I didn't know, I left that on his answering machine. Russ is up in his prayer closet and he's praying, arguing with the Lord that because the Lord he's over in France originally, and the Lord's telling him, "You're not going to Chichen Itza. Don't go." And Russ is arguing, "Lord, I got to go. LA's going. I'm his bodyguard. I got to go." Russ was big. He's like 6'3",
Wow.
6'4", big guy. He's just, he'd walk in the room, we just look at each other and start laughing. He's just that instant camaraderie. I could tell you more stories, but I digress too much. So Russ finally gives up. He's in his prayer closet, lays it down. "Okay, Lord, I'm not going. I don't know how I'm going to tell you to lay this, but I'll call him." So he goes down on his answering machine. The light's blinking. So he hits the play button. It's me saying, "Russ, we're not going to Chichen Itza." Right? I mean, you can't make this stuff up.
Yeah.
And then Richard Grunn, the next morning, he wakes up and the Lord's telling him not going to Chichen Itza. And Richard's going, "How am I going to tell this to LA?" And the same thing. He calls me up and goes, "Rick, I've been meant to tell you, we're not going." He goes, "Hallelujah." So we never went.
All on the same page.
And we were spared. We were spared.
With Russ,
It's funny.
I've heard. I've never had a chance to talk to him. None of that. But there are people who suggest that he was more so taken out than passed away. Is that what are your thoughts on that? I'm sure you've heard it, but he's a friend of yours, so
COVID.
Yeah.
COVID. And he never should have died. Never should have died. And I pleaded with the powers that be that were handling Shelley, his wife, don't put her in the hospital. 17 years later, she was dead. So, I don't know whether he had threats. I slept at his house a couple of times. We would drive together on excursions. We'd go into Ohio. It's just Cheech and Chong. That's what we were.
Yeah.
We had a blast together. But he passed away from COVID and he never got any help for it. So he lingered and just went like this. And Shelley calls us up. We're up on our upper deck eating. And Shelley goes, "Russ is dead." I just broke down and bawled like a baby.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it. And that's when I pleaded, don't let her go in the hospital. And they didn't listen. And she was in 17 days later, she died.
That's tough. That's really tough.
I don't think it was foul play. I think that Russ's immune system was really compromised. And he, never got any help. Never got any help.
Is that just his style? Like he wasn't like, "I'm not going to doctor."
Yeah, I'm a tough guy.
Yeah.
That's pretty much his style.
That was my style for my entire adult life until I turned 40. And with my wife's health issues, about a month ago, I had arranged to go to a family doctor, which I didn't know I don't have one. So I had to find a doctor, and I went in there, and he's like, "What's the reason for the visit today?" I was like, "Well, my wife's overcoming cancer, and I don't want to have it. So, Doc, I'm 40, and we need to start taking care of myself."
Right. Look at something here.
Yeah. And so I was like, this is like preventive maintenance. But anyways, you brought him up, and I just wanted to ask. So let's shift gears here for a little bit. When it comes to world events happening right now, and some things that, going back in time to the beginning of my show, we talked heavy on cryptids. We'll get there in a second, but there's there's this thought that when the United States went into Venezuela, in fact, it's not even thoughts; it's documented that there was some kind of weaponry that was used.
Yep.
Do you think even on that level, we're talking probably reverse engineer technology?
Hard to say. Could be. Yeah, weapons were used that people hadn't seen before,
Like
and
crazy stuff.
Crazy stuff. And they all just basically collapsed where they were. Maduro gets captured. And think about this: it's a stroke of genius. I mean, Trump is whoever is running the show, and Trump's the head guy, but he's got people around him. There's no doubt. Why is it that we get Maduro, we don't take the nation over, we just get rid of, we decapitate the leader who was corrupt in every way, and all of a sudden we have access to the world's largest reserves. Where under Maduro, we really didn't have that.
Yep.
So the next move, a month or two later, not even, right? We go into Iran, Strait of Hormuz. I wrote about this over a decade ago, warning that the Iranians have one offensive move, close the Strait of Hormuz, which is what they've done, because about 20% of the oil comes through that. As of this morning, hundreds of ships are stranded within the strait. They are screwing with the global economy, And if I also wrote this, that if they have a dirty nuke or if they have nukes, all they need to do is let off a radiological bomb in the Strait of Hormuz, and that shuts that baby down. You got Chernobyl.
For a long time.
Long time.
Wow.
That's it. It's over. It's over.
Wow.
And I penned that well over a decade ago. God forbid that should happen.
Oh my gosh.
Right?
Yeah.
God forbid. But they're being backed up into a corner. The whole regime, and now they've got Khomeini's son up there. That's not going to last long. So, and the Kurds are thinking about maybe joining in the fray on our side, but they've been burned by everybody. So unless they get something in writing, and I wrote about this a couple of weeks ago, are we looking at two states emerge from Iran? Are we looking at one state that is more secular and the other state, the Shia Muslim? But Shia Islam, for all practical purposes, is on its way out. And Sunnis know this. This is why it's complex.
And she is the violent branch, right?
Well, they're crazy. I mean, there's already a fatwa that's been issued against Trump, against America, against
Oh, I thought you said
Israel.
fat law.
It's a fatwa, and you can't take that away. So that
fat
means
law.
strike
No
the heads of the
fatties.
unbelievers. This is why the nutcase, where was he? Down in Austin, right, with the bomb. Oh no, he just started shooting people.
Yeah.
Property of Allah. And this is what a fatwa does. It radicalizes everyone. And this is what Americans can't get around their heads. We don't understand the nature of the beast here. This is what we're looking at.
Yeah.
So there's a fatwa against all Americans and against Israel. And this is, will this lead to the Ezekiel 38 war? Will it lead to Jeremiah, I think, 49? And that's the work of Bill Salas, who called this over a decade ago, wrote books about it. Now all these newcomers are, acting like it's their own. One thing that really bothers me about Christians at large, most Christians never point back to where they got it from. Like all the Johnny-come-latelys with the UFO stuff, been banging Mr. Even calling it the Great Deception. I penned that in 1998.
Really?
It's in my book.
Whoa.
It's in my book. Nephilim, the truth is still here. One of the characters says to the protagonist, Mac, this is the coming Great Deception. It's right there. I can take you to it.
Whoa.
Right there. And it's now being used everywhere.
Yeah.
But where did it originate? No one ever points back. So I stand on Dr. I.D.E. Thomas's shoulders for the Nephilim. I stand on Gary Stearman's shoulders for Genesis 3:15. And on it goes. And as Christians, doesn't Paul tell us that we should always esteem the other higher than ourselves and point back to them?
Yeah.
That's what we need to do. It's not done. Some of these grand poobahs in the pulpits have to walk out like they know everything, and they're just basically Johnny-come-latelys. And, God bless them. They're doing the right thing. But the right thing is they're doing a good thing by spreading the word. But the right thing is to point back to the source, where you got it from.
Right. I hear a lot of people do such things with Chuck Missler.
Missler, I always talk to Chuck. Chuck's amazing.
So you knew him?
Oh, yeah, I got my gold medallion. I got my gold medallion award from Chuck.
Wow. Okay. So
It's like a secondary honorary doctorate from Chuck.
that's wild.
He was a mentor to me.
Really?
Yeah, there's a picture in my iPhone. We're at a table. We're like this. He's over here. We're like this.
Wow.
Oh yeah, he was a mentor. Absolutely.
That's wild. I think I first started cutting my teeth on this stuff in my truck with Chuck.
That would do it. Yeah.
Like I'm like, who is this old time preacher talking this stuff? And I was like, that's wild. Okay, that's really wild. So let me ask you this, and then we'll bring it in for landing. when it comes to the idea, because we kind of talked about great deception in the beginning, end times, and all that, bringing back around the end times to the end of the show. There's in your mind, imaginations, what you've read in Scripture, is there a way for you to paint a picture as to what you think it's going to look like? The roots of this show were built on cryptids. That when I first started the show, like I told you before, my friend from Sasquatch Chronicles, like that is all I had to go on, and then we just exploded into other things. But as time went on, I developed 3 or 4 understandings as to possibilities of what cryptids could be, and I always forget them, so I just wrote them down before you came in today. Spiritual entities, man-made reverse engineered bioweapons, occult
It
practitioners.
always starts as cryptid conspiracy theory stuff, but if you get deep enough, it all connects back to demons. When you keep exploring it, you realize, hey, this shit's actually what a lot of people in the past have said in different cultures and in different books, and in hieroglyphs and
People transforming through dark magic, or offspring of fallen angels / Nephilim type stuff from like the Book of Giants. All 4 of those seem plausible to me.
Yeah, they are, absolutely.
Do you think, to paint this picture and to bring this into the view, and feel free to go anywhere you want, is there a possibility that there will be a rise of these things to a level that seems almost straight out of a movie when the time comes?
What are the beasts of the earth?
I wasn't going to say that because I didn't want to prime it too much for you.
What are the beasts of the earth?
Yeah.
The Therion. I got that from Russ Dizdar. See, giving credit. Thank you. But no, Russ Dizdar taught me that. The Therion, the beasts of the earth, Book of Revelation. They're not. I'm quoting Russ. They're not hamsters and giraffes. So what the heck are they?
Yeah.
What is Bigfoot? Go back to 1966, 67, the Gimli Patterson film, where she's walking like this and she turns, right? I'll do it so the camera can see me. She turns like this, and a breast is shown. It's a female. So it's not a guy in a gorilla suit. Last time I checked, you didn't have female gorilla suits back then. She goes like that. So since Gimli Patterson, Sasquatch sightings have gone through the roof. The late Scott Carpenter gave me item on my show, and we showed this one Nephilim, because that's what they are in my opinion. The Sasquatch, he's walking with the camera behind him, about 50 feet away, maybe more than that. And all of a sudden you see a perfect circle, and then the Squatch down on one knee, which is what they always do, elongated skull.
Yes.
So I think that Squatches are modern day Nephilim. They're part of the army. They're interdimensional. They pop in, they pop out. You get one of these things loose in your town, and it's over. It's over. They will wreak havoc in ways, because when you go to shoot them, they disappear. I had the Kandahar giant, I had a guy come up to me and tell me that he was dispatched after the original Kandahar giant was shot. So
he was dispatched after the giant was shot.
So he goes in with special forces into the cave.
To the cave that it came out of?
Correct.
Wow.
There's 3 others. They kill one, the other 2 pop out. Just pop out, blink out, gone.
Really?
Yeah. Woman living in Canada. It's a beautiful spring day. Her house backs up, their house backs up to National Forest. She walks out the front door. About a mile away, her neighbor's hanging clothes. A Squatch appears behind, about 50 yards away from her, just appears behind a shrub and is staring at the woman hanging the clothes. She's like, and who wouldn't?
Yeah.
And she watches it for a couple of minutes. The thing just disappears, blinks out. They can move in and out of this dimension. And you know, you know this, when people see Squatches on a path, they'll go like this into a gateway, into a portal opening up. So, you know, it's like, what are we really looking at here? What's really going on? And this is, you know, it's blatantly supernatural. And that's why the Lord has to intervene, because human beings are not equipped to deal with this stuff. We're just not. Yeah, we can say the blood of Jesus, the Lord rebuke you. I get that. But that's all we have. We don't have weapons to fight this stuff, except the sword of a spirit. That's it. It's all we got.
Yeah.
You know, calling on him. Because that you can't, this is why he's got to come back, because you can't fix this.
Yeah.
You know, the enemy is going to pour out his nonsense in the 7-year tribulation, but God's going to judge the earth too.
Yeah.
I mean, when you think about, and I've talked about this, you know, there are 1 billion abortions since Roe v. Wade. 1 billion. I can't get my head around.
It's a lot.
It's a lot of people, a lot of little babies. But I can tell you what it looks like. From the North Pole to Anchorage, from Anchorage to Toronto, from Toronto to, let's say, Los Angeles, to LA to New York City to Austin, to Miami to
If you think about it, and this is just my opinion, I think the Roe versus Wade, where they legalized abortion, I think that fast tracked us to inflation, because now you've got women who are able to feel like they're emboldened. You have like the hippie movement and all that, and after the war, blah, blah, blah. They can sleep around, not have to deal with the consequences. So that means they don't have to settle down and get married. They get to be independent now, which means they also can work now. They feel like that's freedom. They feel like I can get an education. I can work. I can be my own, early version of a boss ass bitch without, the millions that we have now with these OF girls. But that let the economy take advantage of women working. And now they can raise the prices of stuff because they've got two people making money. Mom and dad get to work now. And now look where we are. Damn. So no matter how you feel about whether you're pro-life or pro-choice, whatever, I think either way, having the choice has contributed to the fast tracking of inflation. Because it's just been going up and up and up since then. Money's been getting less and less valuable.
Mexico City.
Anyways, that's
all
my
the way
opinion.
down, all the way down Central America, South America to Tierra del Fuego. From the North Pole to Tierra del Fuego, you wouldn't see one person. That's 1 billion people. I know. Once you cloak it like that, couch it like that, all of a sudden it goes, oh my gosh, the blood of the innocent cry out. This is another reason why he's going to come back. He's had it up to here, absolutely up to here. And who can blame him? 1 billion babies slaughtered in their mother's womb.
Yeah.
And these people laugh and mock at it.
Yeah.
Excuse me, this is life we're talking about.
When you look at the Epstein files, which I would say do so sparingly and cautiously, because it is dark. But it becomes apparent.
It's tough too, because like that whole liberation of like women's sexuality not only made women be less, I guess, mindful of who they open their legs to, but it made guys also less responsible, because now they think, oh, she can just get an abortion, or like the Plan B pill, or like whatever it is. So now they're like, they sleep around without consequence too a lot of the time. Not all, of course, not all men. But I think it ruined the dynamic for both sides of gender. It's tough.
You even need the Epstein files to confirm this, because we've seen the WikiLeaks over the years and things like that. These elites worship ancient gods. When you look at what the ancient gods were, who they were, and what their requirements were, you see a very
Sacrifice.
You see that exactly. And so it's. I think for people, it's good for them to get in the habit of trying to wrap their minds around things through established things that they maybe once thought was impossible. We know the Epstein files are real. You can access them. The WikiLeaks were real. You can access them. I think you still access them. But
Someone said, if the people who make the babies not plan to make the babies, can be said that the baby is not meant to be, hence not really going against nature to commit abortion, if that makes sense. I can understand your perspective, but hear a different perspective. And I just think we should have open minds to the spiritual realm, because there's been too many instances, in my opinion, to not believe it at this point, but you can still do whatever you want. What if, when you create life, you aren't creating a soul? What if all the souls that have ever existed already exist on a different plane, and when you decide to create a fetus, you are yoinking that soul and dooming them to whatever outcome they have on this earth? And I don't know what happens if you die before your physical body is born and you get to make choices. I don't know. There's a lot of things we don't know. But what if the vagina is nothing more than a portal to the physical realm? What happens to that soul if it doesn't make it to the physical body? I don't know. I don't know.
through understanding those truths and the darkness in those truths, there are other things you can come to a conclusion on with a safe bet of being like, yeah, if these people are worshiping these ancient gods, and these ancient gods we know historically required these sacrifices, it makes sense that these elites who are worshiping these
Like, what if, like, you know how they sacrifice kids? Where do they go? I don't know. But the enemy seems to feed off of it. So let's just give benefit of the doubt that sacrificed children go to heaven. The enemy still grows stronger from sacrificing them. So what if for every baby killed, maybe, even in the womb, what if, even though there was no repercussions and you're not sacrificing it per se, what if the enemy is still able to power up from it? I don't know. It's just an interesting theory, right? What if somehow the demons profit off of that? I don't know. Who knows? It's like I'm thinking about it from like a Monsters Inc. standpoint, I think. You know, where they power up based off of the kids suffering and being scared and their screams.
Around their personal worship and what they require. It just makes sense. So I appreciate you saying that, and I don't even know where to go from that because, but the anyways, cryptids are real. So,
no, they are. Absolutely all day long.
Yeah.
And the Bigfoot, the Squatches are the beasts of the earth, the Therion.
Yeah. And and as we get closer to the time, I do agree with you. I believe that things are going to become more and more rapid, and manifestations will become more frequent. And again, another piece of this show was, what's the church going to do with it? When that kind of stuff starts happening, what's the church going to do with it? And you talk about great deception and stuff. Like, what's the church going to do when these things are manifesting? They don't have a box to put it in, but daddy government is giving them the box to put it in and saying, here's what it is. When the pastor has no answers, the congregants will turn to whoever has the most logical explanation. And you're talking about a massive deception.
Like
at the end times.
Yeah, and this is where we are. And we're prime. We have a form of religion, but for the most part, deny its power. We just do.
Yeah.
And it's, we have this game that we play every Sunday. When was the last time, and if you don't think this is a game, when was the last time your congregation after a worship service just sat in the presence of the Lord, in the presence of the Holy Spirit, and actually allowed him to do something like they used to do in the book of Acts? I haven't seen that in 20 years. Now, and I'm not talking about there's a lot of excess. People running around screaming all this crazy stuff. No, it's always done decently and in order. How do I know that? Scripture tells me that. No one's out of turn. It's done decently and in order. So if it's not decently in order, I just get up and walk out. But the churches don't even know how to do that. There was a demon-possessed woman who manifested recently at a church in Southern California. No one knew how to deal with it.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Well, that demon had its way then.
Diva.
I'll tell you this. I'll tell you this because you just brought that up. Let me pull this up.
We'll never get out of here.
I know we're never gonna get out of here. I got. Well, I'll just retell stories. I can't find it now. My pastor just yesterday texted me and other people at the church. His dad is a pastor in Kentucky, and a man came in yesterday saying that he wants to kill people. He was like standing up in the service and like saying all this crazy stuff, and some of the men in the church started grabbing the guy to take him outside, and not that. They start pulling him, and he's like, I want to kill people or something like that. He's yelling and manifesting. My pastor's father, my pastor is 60, so I don't know how old his dad is, but 80, yeah, at least. Right. And he's still preaching. He comes off, he yells at him and he said, no, don't take him out. And he starts walking up the aisle, and the man yells to him, and I can't remember the exact phrase, but it was like the entity within him said something about, I can't do anything about what lives in you, or something like that, referencing the Holy Spirit on his father. And that caused the man to stop fighting and I guess walk out of the church with them, where he started manifesting again. They hold him down, please come and everything. But like that's stuff that happens, and I think it's going to be happening more.
A lot more. Yeah.
There's going to be people through that are being controlled by demonic agents through like Islamic terrorist type stuff.
That's terrifying.
To this guy living in a trailer down the road that's demon possessed who comes into the church. Both are applicable, and the church is not totally aware of it even being possible for them to even know how to handle such situation. I'm grateful that my pastor's dad knows how to handle this stuff. If he would have touched the guy, I bet he was going to lay hands on the guy, and all that stuff. But there's a lot of churches that aren't ready for what's coming.
Look, what's coming is unprecedented, and the church needs to understand that we live in a supernatural world, and it's manifesting, and it's beginning to manifest in ways that I've never seen. And right there, That's the great deception. And with that comes all signs and lying wonders, biblical. And that's where we are. Time to wake up.
LA, I appreciate you. Thanks for joining me.
God bless you, Tony. Good stuff. Really good stuff.
Awesome.
Thanks for having me on.
Yeah.
That was fun. Did they refill my hell case? I think they did. Huzzah! I can do my sponsored segment. No, I need like more dramatic music. Let me see. I'll just take a different track from this. There you go. All right. Ammo, if you were offered an opportunity to meet Jesus, would you? That's basically asking me to die. So I don't know. I feel like any Jesus that I can see before I die is a demon shape-shifting to pretend he's Jesus. And probably involves a UFO abduction. It feels like a trap. That's a trap. Why do you think you would die? Well, I hope I meet Jesus when I die. I'm gonna be disappointed if I don't. Let me see. What if we die when we see Jesus and it's literally just Keanu Reeves? Damn. Typical. A tan Keanu, because Jesus was brown apparently. All right. Put my timer on. All right, we got Hellcase going on over here. Let me go to the giveaway from last time. Let's see who won. You hear a pigeon? Yeah, I have a pigeon. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Let's see my giveaways. History of my giveaways. Who won? Dravo Kedge. Congrats. Let me start another giveaway. So which one was this called? 17. Okay. Create a new giveaway. Okay. So now let's add an item to give away. Let's do some gloves this time. Broken Fang gloves. Okay, let's make it private. Create giveaway. Okay, I'll put the links in the chat. Okay. Let's open some cases. Let's go to favorites. Let's see, maybe do some guns instead today with knives. I don't know which ones have good odds. I might have to look around. Oh no, it's too cheap. It's too cheap! Maybe here's $100 ones. Let's check out these odds. Oh, terrible odds. $151. Not the best either. Cause see, it's got like, if it has like over 20% on one particular outcome, I find those to be bad odds. I think when they're pretty even, or at least like 10%-ish and under for each item, I think it's usually a little better. Otherwise, you just keep getting the bad shit over and over again. This one's better. It's got kind of a mixture, I guess. Not too bad. We can try this one. So the case costs about $180, so we want to get over that. Oh, okay. Starting off with a W, we got 600 for this knife. That's pretty good. Okay. All right. That's a hit. Let me see. I'm going to favorite this one. Can I add it to my favorites? Yes, there we go. All right, try again. This is worth 80. It's okay. Can I make it bigger? It's just atomic alloy. 80 again. It's okay. Not the best. We started off strong though. Someone got something worth like 3,000. There's almost 2,000, 1,000. So I mean, you can get some good shit here. Sometimes. That's up. That's pretty good. Okay. That's 200. Over 200. A Poseidon gun. Too bad. I mean, it looks kind of cool. It's not terrible. I'm gonna keep it for now. The Fire Serpent. Oh, huge win. Hey, 1,800. Sheesh. Congrats on achieving the next level. New level. Fire Serpent achieved. Oh, I unlocked something. Nice. Big W. Thanks, Trust Pilot. Sure. Oh, I can't click. I have to share feed. No, it's okay. All right. Oh, I got a new shard. I don't think I've ever collected 4 of the same thing, though. Let me try to upgrade that one. Ooh, maybe. Nope, didn't get it. Little marble fade. Ooh! Big win. 900 to 81. Okay, we're doing pretty good. Love to see it. I'm winning more than I normally do. Ooh, I like the blue knife. Same thing. I tried to upgrade it. Boo. It is St. Patrick's Day, it's true. Can I make the upgrade? No. What's up, Steven? You look so fat today. About break even. We'll keep it though, it's kind of cool looking. Will I get this upgrade? Oh yay. Nice. Nice. Got the upgrade. Ugh, keep getting this gun. The Medusa. Oh, big! That's the best today so far. 2,472. Big W. Let's go. Sheesh. Huge. Got can't win them all. We've been doing pretty good though, so I can't really complain. This one looks cool. I'll keep it. What is this game? This is Hellcase. It's a CS skin opening site. It's CS2, CSGO. I hear Nick doing archery outside. Another wildfire. It's my third one so far. Sell it. My God, fourth. A new shard. That one looks pretty okay. I still play CS? No, I don't. So I just do giveaways. Chill, bro. Eh. Here's some sirens. My day was pretty good. I got most of my packing done for Europe. Nick's trying to shoot his chat. That's a brand new phone, I think, if it's the one he set up. It's gonna be a bitchin' if he shoots it, fucks it up before Europe. We're gonna climb mountains in Europe. I don't know about climbing, but we might horse ride to Switzerland. So there's that. Not sure if on a mountain or not. That one's okay. Keep that one. I only have 600 left. 700. I mean, this case has been pretty good. Oh, I wanted the blue one.
What's up?
I'm almost done with my sponsor segment.
Nice.
What's up with you?
I'm wearing my pajamas. I'm ready for bed.
Yeah.
What time it is? Tool time. It's time to go on.
Will we top the Medusa? Unlikely. Ooh, that's pretty good though. 786. I could sell that. Ah. I want the blue ones. Yeah, one more. No blue for me. All right. I'm gonna put the giveaway link in the chat again though, if you missed it earlier. It's free to join. Okay. The best one, I think, was the Medusa we got tonight. Yeah. Sheesh. That's beautiful. It's 2,000 whatever. 2,472.14. Okay. Everyone's a real gamer. I just do giveaways. I don't even play the game, but that's true. I have historically been a real gamer, even though I don't game as much these days. But you're still correct. I play the good games like Legend of Zelda, Pokemon, Skyrim, Harvest Moon, back in the day, Barbie Riding Club, Land Before Time Activity Center, the good old cereal box games like 101 Dalmatians and Hercules. The good old days. The Zoombinis, a banger for sure. You gamer? I don't believe. Every day I came home from school, played my GameCube, played my Wind Waker, my Pokemon Colosseums, my Gale of Darkness. And before that, I played the Nintendo 64 with my Pokemon Snap and Stadium 1 and 2s. It's good times. My Majora's Mask, my Twilight Princess, my Mario DDR, my Super Nintendo, Super Mario Brothers, Donkey Kong Country 3. Played the Diddy Kong Racing and the Mario Kart and the Double Dash Mario Kart and the Mario Power Tennis and the Wii Sports. You know, real gamer grindy shit. You know, the classics. The good stuff. Yeah, not Diddy Party, Diddy Kong Racing. There's Mario Party separate from the Diddy series. What else was there back in the day? What did I play a lot? I played different Harvest Moons. You got your Wonderful Life, your Another Wonderful Life, your Magical Melody, your Tree of Tranquility. Oh, I did see a trailer come out for the next Harvest Moon. It looks, or at least some pictures. I don't know. It looked really good. What was it called? I can't remember. The Realm of something or other. I don't know. Winds of Anthos, maybe. No, that wasn't it. It was a different one. That says 2 years ago. Where is, it had like a wolf in it. Fuck. It was a new one they announced. It was like a wolf deity something or other. Maybe it is just this one. I don't know. I saw it only the other day, and I was like, it seemed like it was a new premiere. I don't know if it's the Winds of Anthos. This. Echoes of Teradia, that's it. That's why.
Hello friends, welcome back to the Closed channel. In post
Maybe it's just pictures, maybe it's not a trailer.
Then,
But the graphics look beautiful. Like, it looks really good. We have come a long way. See, there's like wolves and shit. Dang. We have come a ways. Compared to my first Harvest Moon game, which actually still is, I still like it. It's a little too slow for me now, but I still enjoy it. And occasionally I get the craving for it, and I play it for like 30 minutes and I'm done again. My ADD has gotten worse as I get older. I have less patience. This is what the game used to look like.
Got Vestas Farm supplying the...
Look at these chunky guys. The graphics now look so much better. The new game. I think I did request access to the California game. I don't know if I when they'll tell me an answer though. Chicken Andy, let's play Minecraft. No, I'm okay. You mean Pokopia? That's the game with the Ditto, right? Minecraft? Oh, they have a remake?
Hey guys, Jock.
Oh, that's right. They remade
As
it
in,
on the
could consume
Switch.
less skin color of the game, story of season.
Looks
A
like he
Wonderful
runs
Life for a bit
faster.
more than a
Oh my god.
month now on the Nintendo Switch. And if you don't know yet, this is a remake of Harvest Moon: A Wonderful
Oh
Life.
my god, he
which
does
just
run
get more than a
faster.
month now
Oh wait,
on
am
the
I
Nintendo
sped up?
Switch.
No.
And if you don't know yet, this is
Damn. Man, what an upgrade. These look pretty nice, pretty cute graphics. Ooh. This is vibrant. Okay. Maybe I'll play that next time I get a craving. Anyways, all right, guys. It's about time. I have horse riding in the morning. So I might stream it. We'll see. All right. Bye for now. See you tomorrow.